Hello guys and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined as ever by Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, how goes it over there in Philadelphia?
Rob Goodwin, it is exciting times. The dates are official. They are set July 22nd to the 26th. You might be saying, Matt, is that the Dreamstar Grand Prix? No. Is that SummerSlam? No. It is at the 5-Star Grand Prix. Even bigger, and maybe in this household, more important, the dates are set July 22nd to the 26th for the Plaintiff Town Fair, the apple pie baking contest. We're ready to go, buddy. I drive by that building. It's about 2 miles away from my house. I drive by that building and on my way home from work. And they always have it'll say July with nothing there. And then I think it went up about a week or two ago. And I said, Amber, I said, there we go. So she already has the ideas brewing in her head, what she's going to make for this year's apple pie baking contest. And I already have the promo I'm going to send to the 80-year-old ladies that judge said contest. And maybe even the Sherry / Momo Watanabe / Josh Barnett striking and submission base that I will use when the biased judges do not vote my wife as the big blue ribbon winner on said contest.
It truly is a Super Bowl of apple pie baking contests. Some would argue that, ESPN and places like that are missing out on not televising the entire thing. But, obviously our thoughts are with Amber as she embarks on what I would assume is the most stressful period of her life.
We're about 2 months away, but there's a lot of smack talking because her aunt enters, her sister enters. I think both her sister, her cousin enters. So it's
the Royal Rumble. It's the Royal Rumble.
There's a lot of smack talking as all this baking and stuff goes in. And I always just say, just remember on your side, honey, because I am obviously my wife supports everything that I do and the podcast. And obviously, as you see this crystal clear picture is because of my wife and what she got me for my birthday. But I always support her. So I always tell her, I said, all you have to say the words is shoot headbutt. And you don't worry about a thing. You don't worry about. You hear that, folks? You hear?
Absolutely.
That's right. Gladys, that's coming to you. Ethel.
Yeah, Gladys. Who do you think you are, Agatha?
Yeah, that's right. Other than Agatha all along, I don't want to mess with her. Well, but anyway, brother, I'm doing great. How's things over your neck in the woods? I know you guys have had quite of a heat spell. Did you get any rain yet?
Oh, yeah, it's done nothing but chuck it down now because it's Britain and we don't get in-betweens. But yes, we did get the downpour the country was crying out for, which is a positive. It's now just very, very windy. I am sort of concerned that we have now had summer and that was it. Which you laugh, Matt Turner. I can't remember. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago. We had a really nice May, and that was it. Like it was crap for the rest of the summer. So it does happen, which is slightly concerning. But again, you just sort of you get on with it in Britain. It's just sort of what we're used to. If we get one sunny day a month, we're happy. But enough about the weather. Obviously, you went to see Metallica and Pantera, had what sounds like a jolly old time. How was it?
It was great. Rob, I like to have a beer every now and again. Obviously, I am a 43.
I have heard the rumors.
22, 23. So I'll have a beer every now and again. Obviously, when it's concert season and you're tailgating, you tend to up your game a little bit. So not only did but I think I texted you because we were in the same parking lot we were in a year and change ago for WrestleMania 40. It was much warmer, much nicer out. But I watched my dad polish off about 7 or 8 beers in about an hour and change, and then a Jack and Coke, and then we did our usual shot of tequila. It's kind of our concert going thing is that we always have a shot at tequila. But I mean, that was obviously really, really fun. Obviously, always great tailgating with my dad and spending some time with my dad. And as far as the concert goes, it was amazing. We had great seats. I take your picture excuse me, I text you a picture of where our seats were.
You
So
did,
what they do at these Metallica no repeat weekends is they'll play a different set on Friday and a different set on Sunday. When I went 2 years ago, we went to the Friday set. Obviously, we went to the Sunday set this past weekend. So I basically told anybody that was at the show on Friday, I don't want to know what they played on Friday. I want to be surprised on what they played on Sunday. And they started out with Whiplash off the Kill 'Em All album, which I was like, "Ooh, that's a song to start off with." And then they played majority of the Ride the Lightning album. They played Ride the Lightning, which I've never heard live before. Fade to Black, which was fantastic. From Whom the Bell Tolls. They played really, really great stuff. They didn't play anything off Master Puppets, which my guess would be they probably played on Friday. But they did end with my two favorite Metallica songs back to back. One, which is probably my second favorite song of all time, period, of any artist, and then Inner Sandman, which obviously takes me flashbacks to ECW. No Sandman, no caning anybody, but the place was absolutely rocking, and one of the best Metallica sets I've ever seen. Really good job, and obviously Pantera was terrific. I never got to see the original lineup of Pantera before Dimebag and Vinnie Paul had passed away. But Charlie Benanti on drums from Anthrax. I know Andy Hedder's favorite band, Anthrax, does a great job filling in for Vinnie Paul. And Zakk Wylde is about as close to Dimebag Darrell as you can get. And obviously, I'm a massive Ozzy Osbourne fan. And Zach's been playing with Ozzy since, I believe, the 90s. So, really, really great set that Pantera and Metallica had. And the most important thing, my friend, is we got home safe. We got home safe. We were lucky enough that Amber packed us enough sandwiches to kind of not only get our energy up, but Coat said protein drinks that we had, Rob Goodwin. Yeah. And then because we were in Philadelphia, right by one of the bathrooms there in Lincoln Financial Field was a Tony Luke cheesesteak place. And wasn't as good as a fresh one, but still really, really good. And that helped out as well. So all in all, a great, great concert. Again, I've only done one of the each nights of the no repeat weekends. And if they do come back around next year, I think that I'm going to do the Friday and Sunday as well, because I want to impact that 2 out of 3 days of straight heavy metal that is Metallica.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time, my friend. And I'm glad that obviously Big Papa Roo had a good time as well. The man is an absolute machine. The fact that he was able to consume that much alcohol and still be able to know who he was going to see. And then just, topping off with a shot of tequila as well.
It's funny. Well, he listens to the podcast. It's actually funny. And I've made mention this to you before, off and on air. Growing up, my dad would have maybe 1-2 beers a year. Like never drank, like rarely had out. Like my grandfather, who passed away a handful of years ago, his dad, who lived out towards Pittsburgh, about 5, would come in a couple times a year. So my dad would get either a 6-pack or a 12-pack of beer. So he'd have a beer with his dad, with my grandfather. But like I said, I can tell you how many times we poured the beer out because it got old, or he had to pour the beer out, or he just gave it away to Jeff's dad because Jeff lived 3 doors down. But I mean, he would. But you know what? The guy he's put his time in as a father, as a husband, obviously grandfather to my wonderful talented daughter Lily, and he's retired. So it's like, Dad, you enjoy yourself. Don't you worry about anything. I'll take care of the drive, and you enjoy him, and he enjoys it. He really did something that he's definitely earned. He is my favorite person to go to concerts with because it's an absolute blast, and he can make a friend of the devil. You wonder where I get it from,
Well, yeah, absolutely. Doing a podcast with you and standing in queues with you, I am perfectly aware how personable you are. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's sort of circle back towards some wrestling. So Stardom have only run 2 shows this weekend. It's actually a bit of a quiet spell for Stardom over the next couple of weeks. There's only 1 Stardom show next week on the 4th of June, and that's New Blood 22, and then they've got another one on the 8th of June. But we are going to talk the weekend shows in Osaka and in Kyoto as well, the beautiful KBS Hall. Talk about those shows and the Artist of Stardom Championship match. We're obviously also going to cover the Hana Kimura Memorial Show, which took place on the 23rd of May in Corrigan Hall, main evented by a fantastic match between Veni and Rena. And then we've got a whole bunch of news to chat as well. But first things first, Matt Turner, before we do any of that, before we embark on this podcast, I need you, my friend, to talk to me, to tell our lovely listeners what is coming up on the Patreon this week.
Folks, if you remember, last week on the Patreon was a little bit light as myself and Rob were trying to recoup from Golden Week. That was the middle of May. But boy, howdy, are we making up for it? Have we made up for it? And we are going to make up for it because we have a loaded summer schedule for you. I'll get to that in a moment because we are at the end of May and we're going to wrap right into June next week, which is crazy to say. So we've already dropped one alternate commentary. Jungle Kyona teaming with Natsuko Tora, defending the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions against a little faction you may remember, Rob Goodwin, called Queen's Quest.
I know you remember them.
Damn right I do. Momo Watanabe and Utami Hayashishita. We had dropped that just this past week. We also dropped me and Andy Header Tag Team Breakdown, match I haven't seen since it aired live at the beginning of the year. My favorite tag match in all of wrestling in this year so far, because we may have two of them this weekend on the same show that may break that. We go back to the Path of Thunder, dun, 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 and rock and roll. A lot of rocking talk on this podcast, 15 minutes in, buddy. Love it. We go to the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championship match as Winggori takes on the team of Crazy Star, Mei Sarah and Suzu Suzuki. So that was a great tag team breakdown to do with one Andy Header. And then this weekend, we'll be dropping our What If. I'll be joined by, once again, Andy Header. What if me and Andy got to fantasy book Azumi's New Japan Strong Championship run? Usually these what ifs we do, what if, something a handful of years ago, but we're booking something that hasn't happened yet. So we'll see what happens in real life, if it mirrors mine or Andy's. So that'll be on your Patreon feed this weekend. Also, we did record our alternate commentary, more Jungle Kyona versus Utami Hayashishita from the 2018 5-star Grand Prix. So that'll be on your Patreon feed as well. And then our roundtable discussion, we talked on the Marigold standard just this past week, the retirement of one Nanae Takahashi. Myself and Rob Goodwin will be giving our top 5 favorite Nanae Takahashi, our top 5 favorite matches from our personal own vault there. So again, a lot of stuff that's already on the Patreon feed, a lot of stuff coming up in the next handful of days. Now, Rob Goodwin, that takes us to our summer. So our summer schedule will be as follows. We're going to be focusing on one wrestler for each month of the summer. Now, the entire Patreon, the entire episodes will not be that wrestler, but a majority of it, like the tag team breakdown will feature said wrestler. Our alternate commentary will feature said wrestler. So June, the summer, Starlight Kid. Why not? Wonder of Stardom Champion. Yes, so that's the wrestler we'll be focusing on in the month of June. The month of July, the summer of Soriano. Because why not? And she's going to be in the main event of a must-see show that we're going to preview at the end of this episode. And Rob Goodwin, you probably figured it out. August, the summer, the wrestler of the year, Saya Kamatani. That'll be happening in August. So that's what's going to be our main focus on the Patreon for the summer months. Now for Starlight Kid, again, we're going to be doing 4 alternate commentaries. Our tag team breakdown will be with Starlight Kid, matches with Matt will be with Starlight Kid, and a couple little bonus things we have going on. I mentioned this about a month or 2 ago. I never got to it. This is the perfect month to do it. Rivalry review, bonus episode for our Patreon members will be Natsuko versus Starlight Kid. I got about 25% of the homework done, so that will happen. I'm more than likely I'm going to record that with Andy Header. And then because we just want to keep giving you more stuff in the month of June, myself and Andy Header are going to be going back and looking at Tomoka Inaba, her run in last year's 5-star Grand Prix, because why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Hashtag why not?
But good sir, we are not done. Our what if. What if you can book 6 to 8 matches, your own basically independent show featuring Stardom wrestlers and freelancers / independent wrestlers. And the example that I used was Azumi versus J.A.N. we saw at the Prestige show about 5 or 6 weeks ago. So if you were to book an entire show and you can take any city, any venue, it'd be the Stardom wrestlers versus any freelancers / independent wrestlers. And Rob Goodwin, my guest for that show, I'll be joined by making his Stardom Cast debut, Jordan Castle. So Jordan has obviously done a lot of commentary on Stardom matches versus independent wrestlers. I figured he would be the perfect one to come in. So for Rob Goodwin, we are not done. Hopefully, fingers crossed. In the next
How are we not done?
Well, hopefully in the next 4 to 6 weeks, fingers crossed, This will be on the free feed. Coming back for an interview, a chat with Allison Danger.
Yes.
No topic whatsoever. There's no point. And that'll segue into what I teased the other day on Twitter. Rob Goodwin, Allison Danger, as you know, because obviously you did the interview with me, has helped us out with a little bit of an interview that'll be dropping next week. Rob Goodwin, I talked enough. I'm going to tag you in. Why don't you tell our fantastic listeners, the fans and friends of the Stardom Cast, what interview we're going to be dropping early next week?
Yeah, so Alison, who, big shout out to Alison Danger, friend of the show, incredible person, and I'm looking forward to that chat with Alison because, again, just absolute chaos in the best way possible. She's helped us out with an interview with former NXT talent, someone who unfortunately has been released from the company but has got huge things planned. The former Jakara Jackson, Mara Sade. So that interview has been recorded. It's all done. It's in the can. It's literally scheduled. It will be dropping on Monday, the 2nd of June. Just checking that Monday is definitely the 2nd. I think it is. I'm just going to check the calendar down there very quickly. Yes, Monday is the 2nd. So yes, it will be Monday the 2nd. That will be in your feeds. It'll be on the free feed, and the video interview will be on YouTube as well. And I just want to give a big shout out to Mara, who it's the first interview she's done since her release, I believe, Matt. Aside from obviously her own vlog, she was an absolute delight to talk to. She really was incredibly positive, incredibly passionate about everything that she's doing, that she's got ready, that she's got in the future, and was very complimentary of Stardom as well. Very into Saya Kamatani. So maybe in the near future we will see the former Jakara Jackson, Mara Sade in a Stardom ring. But if you can't wait that long, Monday on the free feed, we will have our interview with her. So you can check that out. Just want to quickly give a shout out to Simon Lennox, Steve Gaston, and Alex Ward, who are our brand new Patreon members as well. Don't forget, whole host of content, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast, because again, Matt Turner, who needs sleep? Sleep is for the weak.
No, especially when you can watch Starlight Kid and then next month Soriano, and now we have Mara, who is actually, they just announced yesterday she's wrestling Masa Slamovich. So welcome to the American Independence. But yeah, you're absolutely right. She was lovely. I talked to her. We talked to her after the podcast, and I talked to her the next day via email. And hopefully she'll be on the show quite a bit, basically giving certain things going on with her journey. And hopefully she does get a run in Stardom, because I think with her talent level, her on the current Stardom roster would be absolute gangbusters. So fingers crossed we do see her in the Stardom ring sometime soon.
Absolutely. Now, let's get into some news. We will, of course, get to Hana Kimura's memorial show very, very shortly, but I just want to go into a few other things before we do that. First things first, Stardom have announced the full card for New Blood 22. That's going to air on the 4th of June. It's in the brand new venue, Tokyo Square in Itabashi. I believe New Blood 18 ran from there. Really good purpose-built venue for wrestling. New Blood Tag Team Championships are on the line. Rice or Bread will be defending against the Diana team of Himiko and Yuma Makoto. The full cards as follows: Cosmic Angels, Sayaka Kurora and Aya Sakura versus Emma Maishima and Kikyo Furusawa. That's going to take a lot for me not to say Kyoko. Kikyo Furusawa. Uriah Hime versus Asuka Goda. Akira Kuragani will be taking on Debbie Kital. The God's Eye team of Hina and Ron Yagami will be in a three-way against the Hate team of Azusa Inaba and Fukin Death, and the Wave team of Hanoka and Saren. And then we've got a singles match. Rian, continuing on that quest for that first singles victory, will be taking on Diana's Nanami Hatano. Presumably, I haven't heard anything to the contrary, this will also air on YouTube, as have, I believe, pretty much every single one, with the exception of New Blood Premium. There might have been the odd one, but the vast majority of these have aired on YouTube, and I think it's now a safe bet to assume that this will as well. We talked, Matt, last time they announced a card. Just it's not booking missteps. That's not what I mean by any stretch. The cards were a little underwhelming, with the exception of New Blood 20, which of course had Saya Kamatani on it and Tam Nakano on it, and we had big matches. I just feel like we seem to be spinning wheels with the New Blood matches. Now, New Blood Tag Team Championships will be defended on this show. It'll only be the third time that Rice or Bread have actually defended these belts, and I believe we're in today 180 something of the reign. Again, no Future of Stardom Championship match. Now, obviously, the next pay-per-view, and this is specifically for you, Colin Matthey, the next pay-per-view is The Conversion. And I don't know if we're just waiting to have a Future of Stardom Championship set on that show, because looking at that match, Hina and Rani Yagami versus Azusa Inaba and Fukigen Death, and Hanoka versus Saren, I imagine that Azusa Inaba is going to pin Hina and challenge her for the belt,
or pin somebody in the match,
or pin somebody in the match. She seems to be the logical next challenger for that belt. But it just seems like these New Blood events, and I feel like I'm flogging a dead horse, repeating myself, stuck record. It just seems like these are the perfect shows for that Future of Stardom Championship. The whole New Blood concept is about blooding the new talent, hence the name. And to a certain extent, you are doing that. You are giving the younger wrestlers a platform, the less experienced wrestlers a platform. And yes, we are getting a New Blood Tag Team Championship match, and I certainly shouldn't be greedy, but why is there no Future of Stardom Championship match on any of these cards? You have got more than enough titles to fill a card. You don't need to hold off on this title, which, by its very definition, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way at all, is the less meaningful of the titles. It's your jumping off title. We've seen what it's done to Rena. It's that title that you, and Hana, absolutely. It's that belt that you have before you go on to other bigger, better things. And I feel like having Hina defending it on the top of these cards, and, if you're going to do every other one, have a New Blood Tag Team Championship match, the cards just feel a bit more must-see. And I know there'll be great matches on here. That opening match, Sayaka Kurora and Aya Sakura versus Emma Maishima and Kikyo Furusawa. Rian versus Nanami, I know is going to be really, really good, but there's nothing there that is compelling the fan to go out and buy tickets, which is a shame. And I think that, a title match is going to make it more exciting. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure, hasn't Himiko already challenged Rice or Bread for the New Blood titles? Or did she challenge... You say what you want, Matt, and I'll just have a look now.
No, I think you're right, but I like the idea of the Future of Stardom on the New Blood shows as compared to these big pay-per-views. Because correct me if I'm wrong, the Conversion is in the Yoyogi National Stadium, the same place that Shine Forever was, correct?
Correct.
So we know obviously they drew 2,500 people, and I just looked at the tickets, and 11 of the 13 sections for this show are sold out with no official matches yet because there's no match graphics. My guess is they're going to want to do close to 3,000 people for said show. And again, looking at the pre-sale tickets, I think they're close there. My guess is you're going to have a red belt, a white belt, and more than likely it looks like it's going to be Shuri versus Sari. No disrespect to Hina and Azusa Inaba, that match is going to get lost in the shuffle. Example, you look at All-Star Grand Queendom last month, that Rani Yagami versus Hina match was phenomenal. A great way to start the show. But when you talk about that show, what do you think about? You think about Azumi, Starlight Kid, Tam, Saya Kamatani, Mayu, Shuri, Micah versus Hashimoto. Like that match, as great as it was, got lost in the shuffle. So that's what I'm afraid. I'm afraid that this match might get lost in the shuffle on the Conversion, because again, you're going to have probably a white belt match, a red belt match, and again, it does look like we're probably getting Shuri versus Sari. Yes, please, on said show. So I think not only does it help because you put it on as the main event and you give that a good amount of time, but also you're not going to have a match that's going to get lost in the shuffle. You know, you put the Future Stardom Championship, and it's the Cork and Hall shows is fine. Like we saw it with Tabitha, Hina and Tabitha. It was a great match. It didn't get lost in the shuffle. You put on the conversion that there you have a possibility of the other 3 belts getting defended. Again, no disrespect to Hina and Azusa Inaba, if that's the way they're going. I'm massive fans of them. It's going to get lost in the shuffle. Give it its own platform, its own spotlight, so it doesn't have to share the spotlight with other big matches on said shows.
Yeah, and I know that obviously you are, with it having its own rule set, it does sort of hamstring the amount of challenges that you can have to the Future of Stardom Championships as compared to the New Blood Tag Team titles. However, I still think there is more than a pool of talent for people to challenge Hina for that Future of Stardom Championship, that when you run a New Blood show every 4 to 6 weeks, there are enough challengers to fill the quota. And it just gives that belt a little bit more exposure, because it does feel like, you know, it does feel like we never see it. And I feel like that's not fair on Hina, who, when you consider that her 2 sisters have had these really, really good, solid reigns with these really good matches, and especially in the case of Rena, put that title on the map, so to speak, really did elevate what is possible with that Future of Stardom Championship. It doesn't really feel like Hina has been given that opportunity. And I feel like the opportunity is there. We've got people on this card that would quite happily challenge. It doesn't even need to be a story there, really. You can just have someone step up and challenge. Himiko, by the way, was the first challenger for Rice and Bread when she teamed with Nanami, who is facing Rian. But yeah, I don't know. It feels a bit like an afterthought. Especially the last 2 have felt very much like an afterthought, and I don't think that's very fair. And again, the wrestlers will put on a great show. The matches will be really good, and there will be a breakout star in this show that we'll be talking about, you know, after the show, undoubtedly, because that tends to be how it goes. It does just feel like there is a missed opportunity with these shows to make them feel a little bit more important, almost.
And something else you can do. I mean, we talked about to get a Future Stardom Championship match with the talent pool in Stardom. We've seen half of these cards are wrestlers from outside of the Stardom company, and they're usually teenagers. So it's like you can have somebody from Diana, you can have somebody from Sendai Girls, you can have somebody from Pro Wrestling Wave. Just step up. You know, they put them in a 6-person tag, match 1, match 2, have them, highlight them, have them get a win. And then, Hina has a successful title defense against whoever, Zeus Inaba, let's just say, for example. And then they come out and challenge them at the next New Blood. It's simple booking. And again, you're not getting this New Blood champion, or not New Blood. You're not getting this Future Stardom Championship lost in the shuffle. That is Saya Kamatani, red belt defense, which is next level. Starlight Kid, white belt defense, which is next level. I know Shuri hasn't had a defense yet. Her first one, partner, you will be there at. But we know Shuri is a slightly above average wrestler. You know she's going to have pretty okay 3 to 3 1/4 star matches with said belt. Like in that match with Sari, it might be okay. It doesn't get lost in the shuffle. Hina will have her own spotlight to not only get that belt over, but make her look like a bigger star, especially the fact we have the 5-star Grand Prix coming up in the next few months. And there's a possibility she may be in said tournament. We can kind of get a little preview of what she can do 13 minutes, 14 minutes, give or take on these said shows when the spotlight is on her. It's not shared with Saya Kamatani, with a Starlight Kid, Shuri, and even a Winggori. I mean, because they're, in my opinion, the best tag team in all of wrestling. So, yeah, totally agree. The cards look really good with Sayaka and Aya against the 2 rookies that I'm massive fans of. That's going to be a fun show. I like these shows on YouTube, and the show we're going to review in a little bit was free on YouTube. So I thought that was a really smart thing on Stardom. I think it had something like 100,000 views in less than 24 hours of it airing. So that's great. Free commercial, free vehicle for everybody to watch it. I like the YouTube concept. I like it how it's kind of in a smaller building. Gets that independent atmosphere. But you're absolutely right. I think it's a missed opportunity not having the Future Stardom Championship defended on majority of these shows.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it has to be every single one, but the last time the Future Stardom Championship was defended on a New Blood show was New Blood 15. Miwa Masaki didn't defend it at a New Blood show, and Hina hasn't defended it on a New Blood show. The last time it was defended was in September 2024, and that was Rena defending it against Aya Sakura at New Blood 15. So it's something that's worth thinking about. And again, like you say, it doesn't have to be every single New Blood show by any stretch. If it's every other one, that's fine. It gives, basically brand it as the New Blood title. You don't have to rebrand it, obviously, but in concept, that can be what it is, and I think that's what it should be. And yes, absolutely, you can defend it on the odd Korakuen Hall show. I don't mind that at all. We've been screaming for years about making Korakuen Hall special again by adding title matches, and they are doing now. But I would like to see a little bit more added to these New Blood shows. Moving on from New Blood to technically a little bit more New Bloods. I don't know. Walker Stewart, anyway, has been hired as the company's new director of global PR and communications. Now, obviously, just before I read out the tweet that Walker put out, just want to say that this is obviously huge. Walker's passion for everything World Wondering Stardom is clear. His desire to know more, that I will stand by the fact that his commentary of that main event match between Saya Kamitani and Tam Nakano at All-Star Grand Queendom was all-time worthy. It was fantastic. Just his inane ability to let the match breathe, to let the atmosphere breathe. Incredible stuff. And to have him on board in this sort of position, I think is going to do wonders for Stardom's international recognition. So Walker did put out this tweet. I'm incredibly honored and grateful to share that I've officially signed a contract with Stardom to soon serve as the company's new director of global PR and communications. What began last August as freelance English commentary work for Stardom events in Japan has since grown into something far greater than I could have imagined. Over the past 9 months, I've poured my heart into helping amplify Stardom's voice to fans around the world. I think we can all agree he's done that. And to see the effort recognized by the leading women's wrestling company in the world is both humbling and deeply meaningful. The more things continue to change, the more they stay the same as well. I will continue my work with New Japan as their lead English broadcast commentator and as a content producer, and I will proudly remain the English voice of Stardom as well. So I know that there were a couple of people asking if he would be remaining the Stardom English commentary. Yes, he will. When he was announced actually as the lead English commentator, it was said that he was sort of signed to a couple of dates, and how many more he would be signed to or how many more pay-per-views would be given English commentary would depend on the numbers overseas. So I'm hoping that with Walker on board in that position, we will start to see numbers increase and therefore see more English broadcast increase as well, or the number increase, should I say. He continues, my life's mission has been to grow professional wrestling across the world, whether it's behind the microphone or behind the curtain. Now my impact will not just be heard on air, but felt in the roots of Joshi Wrestling's most iconic promotion. Forever grateful, forever humbled, and forever determined to work toward a better professional wrestling landscape. Bushiroad have found an absolute gem in Walker. Obviously, when I first started watching New Japan, it was Kevin Kelly on the call, and I thought him and first Don Callis and then Chris Charlton had unrivaled chemistry, and I genuinely did worry what would happen when Kevin Kelly left to go to AEW. Walker has not only filled those boots, but in my opinion has taken it to an all-new level, which is honestly quite astonishing. And then the stuff that he's been able to add basically on his own at times. I know he was on there with Waka at All-Star Grand Queendom, but Waka did run away from Hate. So Walker was left on his own for a couple of matches, and the fact that he was able to do that on his own is so difficult. Nothing but full of respect for Walker Stewart. I can't wait to see what he does. And again, I know you don't like the word deserve, so I think if there's anyone that has earned the stripes, then it's certainly Walker.
Yeah, earned, not deserved. Real quick, but I think Walker ran away from Chihiro Hashimoto. Remember, she powerbombed her like 2 or 3 days earlier. I think that's the gimmick that we ran with. But no, this is something that he's done such a great job on English commentary for Stardom. And again, considering the fact that how long All-Star Grand Queendom was, and for majority of it, he did by himself. And I compared it pretty much to Joey Styles doing commentary pretty much by himself for the entire Barely Legal pay-per-view, which again, me being from, right outside Philadelphia, That's a, you know, being an ECW kid, that's a massive compliment for me. He did a great job the whole entire show. But yeah, you're especially right. That call from the main event with Saya and Tam added on to so many layers of what was my favorite match of the year, one of my favorite Stardom matches of all time. And you're right, having somebody like Walker being able to move Stardom forward, him being the person in the front line to move the company forward to more of the English speaking audiences, whether that's going to be some in North America, you over there in Europe and England there, buddy. This is huge. We've been saying on this podcast for years, our main job is to get as many people as possible to watch Stardom, and obviously now Marigold, because of just the great wrestling that it is. I always say Stardom is, for the last 3 or 4 years, it's the best wrestling company on the planet. And I'm not taking anything away from WWE, AEW, New Japan. Those are all companies that I watch, that I love, I enjoy. But Stardom's the best wrestling company in the world, and more people need to see it. And I tell my friends all the time that just watch AEW and WWE and NXT, that if you were to watch Stardom, it would completely blow you away. And we've seen it. Again, Andy Header is prime example. He started watching Stardom a little over a year ago, and now it's his favorite wrestling company. He loves watching Stardom because it's something completely different, and it's all about the wrestling and the storylines. It's all about the long-term storytelling and the great in-ring action. And not only that, but everybody getting over, helping each other to get better, and watching the talent grow. And the fact that we're going to have Walker Stewart, you know, again, on the front line to get more people over here in the United States to watch Stardom. That's not a good thing, buddy. To quote DDP's awful gimmick in WWE, it's not a good thing, my man. That's a great thing. So again, biggest congratulations to Walker. This is great having him, you know, kind of fly the flag of Stardom over here in the United States. And I cannot wait to see how much this company is going to grow under pretty much his watchful eye as the director of communications. So again, the biggest congratulations to you, sir.
Absolutely.
This is awesome, and cannot wait to just see so many more people watch World Wonder Ring Stardom.
Yeah, and obviously trying to ride the momentum that Stardom is undoubtedly having on a national scale, trying to parlay that into, you know, a Western market that's hungry for more Stardom. You know, we've seen the reaction to whenever Stardom wrestlers do come over, whether it's on New Japan shows or the talent that we're going to talk about next. There's always a huge clamoring for that, to see more Stardom shows. And, you know, when they announced they were running shows for Vegas, that was the thing everyone was talking about. What talent is coming over? What talent is coming over? What talent am I going to see? You know, what matches am I going to see? And hopefully we will see more of a focus, maybe, no matter how slight, on the sort of English speaking side of it, because I know that Stardom were very clear over the last couple of years that a national expansion was something that they were focusing on, or at least Stardom on a national scale. And I think, you know, judging by the numbers that they're drawing in, especially at the moment, you could argue that they are at that level now. So it will be nice to see them capitalize and sort of do something with an English-speaking audience that is there without a shadow of a doubt. Speaking of English speaking fans, those in Texas. Now, I will just issue, by the way, an apology. When I initially put this out, I had got it in my head that Spark Joshi's Ignite Texas show was All In Weekend, and it's not. So I've changed the news article. Thank you to Warren Hayes, who pointed out on Blue Sky. But yes, it's not over All In Weekend. I believe it's 2 weeks before. Anyway, that being said, Spark Joshi's Ignite Texas show on June 29th at Baytown Community Center will have 2 Stardom talents featuring, and those 2 talents are Fukuoka Double Crazy Hazuki and Koguma. Now, we knew that Hazuki was going to be there, or at least we guessed that Hazuki was going to be there, as she was Spark Joshi World Champion. But the fact that Koguma is there as well, just her second ever US date, by the way, after that #1 contendership 4-way at Fighting Spirit Unleashed in November last year. This, I assume, is what the sort of thing that we are going to get in relation to FWC, talking about having that sort of worldwide stage that they wanted to do, and we are going to see them going as more of a package. And to be honest, of everyone that we didn't see over Vegas, Koguma was the one I truly did. I really did regret didn't come over, especially as Hazuki was coming over. There are other names announced as well. Saki Ramkaicha was going to be over there. Texas native Vixen is going to be there as well. And the freshly married Yuka Sakazaki. Congratulations to her and Takeshita, who recently announced that they were married. I don't know if you saw that photo, by the way, of their hands in the sand. Absolutely lovely. I didn't realize that the thing in the middle wasn't seaweed, it was their dog's paw, which makes that photo infinitely cuter. But yes, Matt, Hazuki and Koguma coming to Spark Joshi Ignite Texas June 29th.
I'm going to get this out of the way now because Raul's going to be mad at me, and I've already had a bunch of people ask me. I will not be driving from Pennsylvania to Texas. Unfortunately, that is literally halfway across the country. So yes, I had, as soon as Hazuki was announced, I'm like, I know I'm gonna get it, and I had like one or two people. When Koguma was announced, because you figured, okay, like she's gonna be announced with her because that was the whole thing. Is obviously they're still in Stardom
worldwide FWC,
yeah, and then like, so you knew that was gonna happen, and then I think it was like an hour afterwards, like, are you going to the show? Are you gonna drive? When are you gonna tell Rob that you can't make it? And I was like, I'm just gonna tell him on air. I figured, let me be a professional and tell him face to face as we're looking at. Unfortunately, I will not be driving from northeastern Pennsylvania all the way to the heart of Texas. As much as I love Texas, and it'll be a zillion degrees because it'll be in the middle of the summer, I will not be going to said show. However, we have seen Spark run quite a bit over here on the Northeast area. So if FWC is going to be there for a little bit, and they do a Spark show on the Northeast, or GCW, again, another company that likes to use some of the Stardom talent. Again, we saw Utami was there, Unagi, Megan Bain. That's a possibility. So if that is somewhere within a few hours driving, I will go to said show. But unfortunately, I will not be making the drive all the way from Pennsylvania to Texas. So Rob, I apologize. Just letting you know, going to be upfront and honest with you. That's not happening. But in all seriousness, this is awesome. My guess is we're going to see Hazuki defend that championship. I was kind of hoping that that Spark would get FWC as a tag team, because them as a package, I mean, obviously they're great individually, especially Hazuki. Them as a package is second to none. So maybe they'll run another show where we can see FWC as a team. But my guess, since Hazuki is the Spark champion, that you're going to see a title defense. And I mean, the talent that's already announced, any one of those would work for me, my friend. But this is awesome because we want to see Spark running more shows. Obviously, we're a big fan of CB, and CB's a big supporter of us over here at the Stardom Cast. So this is great. It's going to be a great show, a loaded show. I'm super excited for it, and super excited to get some worldwide FWC.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was a very, very greedy man, Hazuki versus Yuka Sakazaki for the Spark Joshi World Championship. Yeah. I think that's what everyone would like. I don't think that's a hot take by any stretch of the imagination. I know that Blitz, friend of the show, is going, because I know that he was talking to CB on Twitter and was like, "Oh, you've announced Koguma, now I'm going to have to go." And literally his next comment was, "Yeah, everything's booked." So he is going. So I hope he has.
Where's
a great
he from, Rob? I know we talked about it in Vegas when we saw him. Where's he from? Because that's a plane flight for him, I think.
It is a plane flight. I can't remember exactly where he is based. If you could let us know, Blitz, that'd be great. But yeah, I know that he is going. So yeah, it's going to be great. Matt, just wanted to let you know, by the way, Allentown, Pennsylvania to Houston, Texas is only a 22.5-hour drive. You're making it sound like it's completely impossible. And I don't particularly like that defeatist attitude. I am having to get a train to the other side of the UK to go and watch Syuri in an IWGP Women's Championship match. Now, it's irrelevant that the other side of the country is only an hour and a half away from me because I live in a tiny, tiny island. However, 22.5 hours, Matt, more than capable. Capable.
I see your point, because you're going from one end of the country to the other. You're just asking me to go halfway, because Texas is about halfway. So yeah. Now you have to understand something, Rob, that I am notorious for hitting red lights and getting into traffic. So there's a possibility that's probably going to be a 26-hour venture for me, because that's just, I guess part of my gimmick. Like if I was in the X-Men, that would be my my mutant ability, hitting lights as soon as they hit red.
The worst mutant ability in the world.
Every possible thing of traffic I always hit. That's why I get a lot of podcast time on my drives. But no, I'm super excited. Super excited for Spark. Super excited for Spark. And again, folks, if you're in the area and if it's a drive or flight, you can be like Blitz and do it. And good on him. We highly recommend, definitely go check out that show, because it's gonna be one that you won't forget.
Just want to echo, it is not on All In weekend, which is what I think what I did was I just saw Texas and assumed. So no, it is not. 29th of June, Houston, Texas, Baywood Community Center.
You just saw Texas wrestling summer, so you just like all in. So
I personally think that's a fairly rational thing to jump to, but it's my own fault. So thank you, Warren, on Blue Sky for pointing that out to me. Someone else that is going to be wrestling out and about is Konami, who is set to appear on Seedling's 30th of May show in Shinkiba First Ring today, actually, as you guys are listening to it. She will be taking on Miria Koga at the Shinkiba Series Volume 3 show. Someone else on that card, Veni, will be defending the Beyond the Sea Championship against Honori Hana. This is going to be Konami's first match in Seedling, by the way, since March 2016. Koga only a year into her career, so I'm excited to see what she can do. Elsewhere on the card, a 17-year-old Madison Marley will be making her Japanese debut. So Danish professional wrestler Madison Marley, 17 years old, hoping really, really good things for her, Matt, as well.
Yeah, 17. Wow. And that's a great name, Madison Molly. Okay, so by chance, Robin, I'm putting you on the spot. Who was she trained by? Anybody like
continue talking, because I did just have that information. I've just shut the tab down on my notes. So do continue.
I was just curious, but it's gonna be awesome to see Konami spread her wings out a little bit and do something outside of Stardom. So that's gonna be really, really cool, because Konami really seems like ever since after the 5-star, she really had some momentum going, and then she got injured in that match with Cheery at the end of the year at Dream Queendom, and it really seemed like she's been back with a flurry, especially with that great Wonder of Stardom Championship match she had with Starlight Kid on the finals of the Cinderella tournament. Rob Goodwin, I see your poker face. My guess is you have the answer to said question. Go ahead, sir.
I do. She's from Copenhagen, Denmark, and according to Cage Match, at least, her trainers were Carlos Zamora and Pete Phoenix.
Okay, I'm just curious there, good sir. So yeah, awesome stuff, my friend. More and more talent getting out there in the Joshi scene. Easy for me to say.
Apparently so. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, all that news is available talkjoshi.com. And everything that you've heard here and indeed on the Marigold Standard is up on the site and up on our socials as well. That being said, let's move on to Hana Kimura's Memorial Produce Show, Hanabi, 23rd of May 2025, live from Korakuen Hall. 545 people in attendance for the show. The results run as follows: Tae Honma defeating Yuna in 6 minutes and 55 seconds. There was a battle royale that was won by Death Yama-san. That also included Unaga Sayaka, Yuki Miyazaki, Yuki Miyamoto, Ram Kai Chao, Banana Senga, Cherry, Fuminori Abe, and many more as well. Aja Kong defeated Seigo Takibana in 1 minute and 21 seconds. But that, again, only tells part of the story, because Aja Kong actually beat her 3 times in the space of a minute, and it was genuinely really quite funny. Jaguar Yokota defeated Shin Hana Kimura, which is obviously Shin Sakura Hirota, and Mensori Aoyaji in 8 minutes and 23 seconds. We then had a 3-way tag team match: Red Energy, Mikari Wata, Miyuki Takase, versus the Reiwa Ultima Powers, which is Dash Chisako, oh my god, struggling today, and Hiroya Matsumoto, and Sayori Poi, going to a 15-minute time limit draw. In the semi-main event, Konami and Minoru Suzuki defeated Chihiro Hashimoto and Shotaro Ashino in 18 minutes and 40 seconds. And then in the main event, Veni defeating Rina in 17 minutes and 48 seconds. These shows are always an event, obviously, and I know that sounds really stupid to say, but they're such a great encapsulation of Hannah's energies. You know, you have got the emotional moments, obviously. You know, the final video package is always incredibly emotional. You've got the comedy, you know, the Aja Kong match, for example, the Battle Royal, for example, and then you've got some tremendous wrestling. That main event between Rina and Veni was tremendous. The three-way tag team match was really, really good. And it's just great to see. The show's still honoring her life.
Yeah, you have a little bit of everything. Like the first match, it was right up my alley. It was hard hitting. It was great chain wrestling. A lot of submission style wrestling, and then you have the battle royal, which is always kind of your comedy thing. Aja Khan getting 3 more wins in her career in about 90 seconds, and then obviously kind of had the cosplay match, throwing Jaguar Yokota in there, and then we ramp up. That 3-way tag match was unbelievable. I mean, just great stuff. I want to see Red Energy versus Soripoi in the worst way possible. And Hiro Matsumoto and Dash, they were terrific as a team as well. Again, 15 minutes. I figured to go to the time limit draw. I was kind of hoping it would have went 20, give it at least 20. But really great stuff. And I mean, Soripoi, I'm so excited for their match coming up this weekend because we get another chapter in the never-ending rivalry, no matter what they said at the end of last year, of Miko Wada versus Soriano. And I'm not complaining at all, but give me more. Give me more. I'm all for it. But yeah, I mean, just really, really great last 3 matches. Just to kind of go over my star rating, the 3-way with Soripoi, I had it 4.25 stars. Rob, and then we go into, and I didn't see this show live because I think it was on a Wednesday or a Thursday, so I didn't get a chance to see it before I came home. But there was a picture, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, that was all over social media about a minute after it happened with Minoru Suzuki and Konami with the Minoru Suzuki towels.
Genuinely, it looks as though someone said to AI, "Hey AI, just find me a picture that says Aura."
And badass. And that's what it was. And 2 ass kickers in Konami and Minoru Suzuki. And they had a great match. Obviously, Chihiro Hashimoto, she's fantastic. She had some great exchanges with Minoru Suzuki, which I thought was like, oh boy, I don't know who's getting the worst or the better of these exchanges. But obviously, Ashino, I believe, wrestles for All Japan because I know I've seen him quite a bit.
He was part of, I believe, and again, I could be wrong, but I believe he was like a big deal in Wrestle One, and then came over to All Japan. And I believe at one point was like being pushed in All Japan, but I haven't heard a lot about Ashino since. I know there was quite a few people who were pretty excited about him.
Yeah, I mean, I know I heard that name before. Then he came out to Metallica's Fuel. Again, a lot of rock and roll talk on said show. So he came out to that.
Talk.
Yeah, I was all about that. That was great. That was a 4-star match for me. 18 minutes, all for it. That main event, though, buddy, was my favorite match of the show. 4.25 stars. Rina and Veni. Fantastic match. My only small complaint is I wish Rina would have went over. Considering the fact that she has so many ties to Hana Kimura. We've saw it back at the Path of Thunder, dun dun dun, and Rock and Roll, where she came out with the Tokyo Cyber Squad sword. She had the Hana Kimura rolls in her hair, the corn rolls or whatever they're called. And obviously, she's been using the hydrangea submission for quite some time. And even in that match with Starlight Kid, back in her hometown, she teased the Tiger Lily. So I really thought that Rina would have went over. But regardless, it was a great match. It's always great seeing Veni. She's such a great.
Good. She's so good.
She's such a great wrestler. Just a terrific next level wrestler. I thought that was the perfect main event to end this show. Fantastic match. Again, my favorite match from the show. 4.25 stars. And again, folks, if you haven't checked it out yet, I think it's still on Triller TV. I think it's only $20. Well worth your money, especially the opener, hot opener. It's less than 7 minutes. My style of match, hard hitting, great submission wrestling back and forth. But those last 3 matches, that Soripoi, Red Energy, not Hashimoto, Dash, and Matsumoto, that match was fantastic. Minoru Suzuki and Konami teaming up. Who knows? We may never see it again. It seemed to work really well in the main event with Rina and Veni. Again, those last 3 matches, well worth your money. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go and check it out.
Yeah, it is still available on Triller TV. And again, that opener, Honma and Yuna, really good match. The more I've seen of Yuna, the more I've been impressed with her. And I know friend of the show, Scotty Wrestling, put something up on on Twitter. I believe it was the Gold Star podcast, and they've sort of been alluding to the sort of the four pillars of Joshi wrestling in the future, and Aya Sakura is one of them, and Chi Chi, who is coming back from injury, is one of them as well. And again, Yuna doesn't quite get the dimensions that those women get. And I think Yuna is going to be someone to keep an eye on in the future because, again, every time I see her in the ring, she's constantly improving. So, yeah, that's someone to keep an eye on, certainly. But yes, that was the 23rd of May. Another really, really, really good show. And with Rena in particular being the sort of read Karen Peterson's review of this show. She always does such a fantastic job over at Post Wrestling. And Karen referred to Rena as Hana's project. Going back to that draft show where Rena was the last person to be drafted, would burst into tears, and Hana brought her over into what was eventually Tokyo Cyber Squad. And seeing Rena grow into the wrestler that she is now, the potential that she has, and that ceiling that doesn't exist for Rena, it was the perfect way to end the show and to have Rena address the crowd as well, and see how emotional she got as well. Really, really good. Really, really, really great end to the show.
They decided, partner. I mean, great job with the video packages in between the matches, especially showing, you just mentioned they showed the draft where Rena was the last person drafted and how emotional she was to Hana Kimura, and they showed Rena again coming out with the TCS sword back at her, the big main event that she had with Starlight Kid at the beginning of this year. And then again, they always do that great video package at the end, and we got to see Jungle Kyona. So more Jungle Kyona in our lives. Obviously, Jungle and Hana were very close. They were two-thirds of the three big members, obviously, along with Konami as part of Tokyo Cyber Squad. So it's always nice seeing Jungle Kyona. And it's always nice seeing Konami in these matches. And Rob Goodwin, we kind of glanced over it. Fuki and Death Yamasan getting a win. We've been talking about the injustices on this show from her for the past few weeks that had to make you feel good. Getting a win on one of the biggest and our favorite shows of the year. Not only that, but she's the only person on said show that beat like 8 or 9 other people because it was a battle royal. She didn't have to beat one person or 5 people or 3 people. She beat like 20 people. So, I'm just saying, Night of Champions is coming up. We need a challenger for John Cena. I keep pushing that narrative, buddy. I keep pushing that narrative. The final time is now. The final time is now.
We're never going to get it again. And I did feel good up until the fact she got pinned on the Osaka show, which we're going to delve into now. We might as well head into it. Honestly, man, I've been practicing that for hours. Yes, Stardom ran 2 shows this weekend, as I mentioned, the first of which was on Saturday, the 24th of May from Edion Arena, Osaka. Number 2, the announced attendance was 604. Now, this is the 5th highest attendance Stardom have pulled to the venue in the 54 times that they have ran it, with this being the 5th time that they've surpassed 600 in that venue. It's also a 19.13% increase on the last time they ran the venue, which was back on the 10th of April this year, where they drew 507 people. Obviously, the big thing on this show was the Artist of Stardom Championships being defended in a 3-way, which has only happened once before in the title's lineage. And bearing in mind that Neo Genesis are your 34th champions, Matt Turner, it's time for a little bit of knowledge, because I know for a fact that you have seen this match, and I think you will probably get this. So again, as I mentioned, this will be the second time since the title's inception that the Artist of Stardom titles have been defended in a 3-way. So for your first point, who were the champions in that previous match?
Let me go back here. I know this doesn't count as a point. Was this in 2022?
Was indeed, correct.
Okay. The champions were 1 or 2 teams, because I knew this. I was just like, after this match was over, I was like, I don't know if they've ever, and I didn't look it up. I just remembered in my head. Was it My Hemi Poi?
It was not. It was the other one.
Okay, so it was Oedetai.
It was a Wedatai.
It was Momo, Starlight Kid, and Saki Kashima. Okay, and it was
who held the belts for a deceptively long time. They held it for 215 days.
In my opinion, as far as work rate goes, well, I mean that work rate angels, but up until recent memory. But I mean, My Himi Poi, the Soweto Tai team, and the original Cosmic Angels, which are like back to back to back. Just some great artist matches. Now we get Neo-Gen. I mean, these artist belts have been great, even when Restart had them just for a little bit and Prominence. So these belts, they kind of get pushed to the side just because of how great the talent is that are your other champions. But anywho, I know it was Julia, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla in said match.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Okay, Julia, Sakurai. Do I have that right? Okay.
You have those right, yeah.
Micah?
Correct. That is the first challenger team. Who was the second challenger team?
It was Cosmic Angels.
It was not.
Was it QQ?
Nope. I'll give you one more guess. No, it was God's Eye.
Really?
It was Syuri, Mirai, and Amisori, and it took place on the 26th of June, 2022. That is the only other time the belts have been defended in a three-way. And you're absolutely right. That 1, 2, 3 of the original Cosmic Angels, Mai Himi Poi, and the Uedatai team as well that we've just mentioned was peak, in my opinion, Artist of Stardom Championships, because it was 7 defenses for Cosmic Angels, 7 defenses for Mai Himi Poi, and then 5 defenses for Uedatai. So quite a few defenses. I don't think we've surpassed 3 title defenses for any team since Uedatai in 2022. So there you go, a little bit of knowledge for you. But yes, the title challengers this time were going to be the hate team of Konami, Rina, and Ruaka, and then of course the Mavida Loca. Team of Suzu Suzuki, Rina Yamashita, and Itsuki Aoki as well. Both Rina and Itsuki Aoki's first title challenge in Stardom. That is just for you, Colin. If you didn't put it on Patreon, mate, I wouldn't keep doing it. But yes, they also announced Stardom just before the show, a couple of hours before the show, actually, that it would be airing for free on YouTube. So again, still there, available for everyone to watch. The results then are as follows. We open with a 6-woman tag match. The Stars team of Hana, Saida, and Momo Kogo defeated Hina, Tomoka Inaba, and Kikyo Furusawa, with Momo Kogo getting the pinfall over Furusawa with the neck to Peach in 10 minutes and 34 seconds. In a singles match, Meisera defeated Uriah Hime with a drop kick in 9 minutes and 23 seconds. 6-woman tag match, Hazuki Koguma and Akira Kurogane defeated the team of Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurora, and Emi Maishima. Koguma submitting the rookie with a sleeper hold in 11 minutes and 22 seconds. 8-woman tag next, the God's Eye team of Syuri, Saki Kashima, Lady C, and Rani Yagami defeated the hate team of Natsuko, Tora, Sayaka Mitani, Azusa Inaba, and Fukigen Death. Lady C pinning Fukigen Death with a choke slam in 10 minutes and 27 seconds. However, I'm not too bothered about that because it gave Lady C a victory, which I'm more than happy about. Semi-main event, 6-woman tag match. Cosmic Angels team of Natsupoi, Sioriano, and Yuna Mizumori defeated the EXV team of Hanako, Rian, and Waka Tsukiyama. Sioriano pinning Rian with a German suplex in 13 minutes and 39 seconds. And then the Artist of Stardom Championships on the line next. As I mentioned, it was a 3-way. I didn't actually realize, Matt, until the first pinfall, that it was an elimination match. So there you go. But the team of Neo Genesis, Starlight Kid Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki successfully defended their belt for the second time against the teams of Hate, Konami, Ruaka, and Rina, and Mavida Loca. Oh, there we go. Suzu Suzuki, Rina Yamashita, and Itsuki Aoki in 22 minutes and 11 seconds. Miyu Amasaki last eliminating Ruaka with the Amana Hashidate in 22 minutes and 44 seconds. So the last time I'll play the music, I promise. But Matt, let's talk about this show then. We opened with a really, really interesting match. We've seen, and again, this is the power of the Future of Stardom Championship, because we've seen Hana and Tomoka Inaba in particular have some really, really good back and forths over that belt on the New Blood shows, for the New Blood Tag Team Championships. And here we got another taste of that. But also, I want to know, what did you think? We were both very impressed with the debuts of Emma and Kikyo. What was your thought here in this situation?
Again, Kikyo here was great. This is something a little bit different. It's, she's has to tag with two other wrestlers, two great wrestlers in Tomoka Inaba and Hina. And as per usual, the Stars trio, again, there's only three of them for now. We know that they're trying to get the 84 other rookies that are currently in Stardom that aren't with a faction just yet. They're trying to recruit them. But I would not be hurt at all if this Stars trio, well, the only trio in Stars of Han and Saida and Momo Kogo, are the next challengers for the Artist of Stardom Championships. I mean, that'd be a great match, especially main event to put in Cork and Hall. But Han and Saida and Momo Kogo, they did a great job taking Kikyo and leading her into certain places, feeding for certain things, being able to give her enough, making sure she's at the right place at the right time. And she was great on her own. Obviously, Tomoka Inaba, she's next level. She's next level. I know Tomoka Inaba, not to change the subject here, Rob, I know she put on Twitter, I think just today or yesterday, that she has a special announcement coming up at the JTO show coming up soon. So the big rumor is that she signed with Stardom full time, which she kind of already has been. But anywho, maybe she'll just make it official. I just want to point that out there. I thought that, again, her being in this match, she worked really well with Tomoka. She worked really well with Hina. It's only her second match. Again, I don't know what is in the water in Japan, but these Joshi rookies are really, really, overly impressing. They're really hitting it out of the park. I thought she was terrific here. But again, you got to give a lot of credit to the Stars trio of Winggori and Momo Kogo, because they work so well together. We were kind of wondering, once Mayu left, how well Stars would work together without her. Obviously, it's Mayu. You're going to go down a little bit in stock because she's the greatest of all time, still in her prime. But I tell you what, Rob, they haven't gone down too much, because these three together are fantastic. Ultimately, though, it is not only Momo Kogo, Metal Momo Kogo, getting the win with the Nectar Peach. Getting the win with the Nectar Peach. We're seeing Momo Kogo getting more and more wins, which I'm a huge fan of. I always say you want to start your shows off with a hot opener. This was the definition of a hot opener. 3.5 stars for me, partner.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with Tomoka Inaba, because, again, I saw, I'm sure many people saw, but there's such potential with her. And, Azusa Inaba, her character work as a member of Hate, because she's so bratty and a heel, it's easy to sort of get yourself over when you've got that character. Whereas a Tomoka Inaba is sort of in that faction where your character is that you are a stoic, badass fighter. And it's less to work with on a character scale. So I want to see her push more, because you've mentioned that you're going to be doing a review of her 5-star Grand Prix run from last year, and there's some tremendous matches in there, especially that opening match against May Sayer. I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. We know that they have teased before, in fact, on a number of occasions, Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba. I would be very surprised if it's that she's signed full-time with Stardom. I'd love it, absolutely, because I think, as I mentioned, both her and Azusa have got a tremendous amount of upside, especially, with Stardom having lost so much talent so quickly. The acquisition of two very good talents in Azusa and Tomoka on a full-time basis is going to be very, very good for them. I don't know, I think I might be reading too much into Tomoka's loyalty to JTO and Taka, but we'll see. We'll see. If she does ultimately sign, it's great, but it might well be something else. Might be a Rice partnership. Who knows?
I was ready to say that. That seems to be the big deal, buddy.
Absolutely.
Seems to be the big deal.
Moving on to match 2 then, May Sarah and Uriah Himi. What did you think of this, Matt?
I've been saying this past few weeks. I'm going to say it again. These rookies, these super talented rookies and younger wrestlers in Stardom, they need these singles matches on these quote unquote Stardom World shows. There's nobody to tag out to. There's no other person in. They need to be in the ring without a net with a great wrestler and a great wrestler that's going to be able to take care of them in the ring. That's what this match was. I think obviously her and Akira, they debuted at the same time. There's more right now of a shine on Akira because she's with a faction and she's with a cool new faction that has the fancy music that you only hear on the Stardom Cast, not the YouTube, not the YouTube, just the actual podcast.
Not YouTube, no.
Because Ricky Martin yelled at Rob Goodwin again. I'm keeping that in my head. But this was great. Again, May Sarah, she wrestles so fast, so furious. Uriah Hemi does a great job like keeping up with her, but then when it's time when May is really getting ahead, she just runs and hits her with that big boot and then starts grinding May down. I thought that was really great psychology. May did a great job bumping and feeding, giving Uriah enough to look credible in this match where she can pull off the upset against the fantastic talent that is May Sarah. Ultimately, though, for May to put her away with that drop kick. And and I know a lot of people like it's, when May wins these matches, they're like, it's 2024, it's 2025. What is she doing winning with the drop kick? And my thing is, well, did you see it? Have you ever been kicked in your head, like with somebody that's going 1,000 miles an hour? Folks, the fact that May Sarah gets a drop kick over as a finish here in 2025, and it makes sense, and you're just like, damn, yeah, that would put the Big Show out. That just goes to show you just the velocity and the speed that May Sarah gets. And obviously, she's got the shooting star roll up. She's got the goodbye piece version of the Liger bomb. She's got the version of her the Dragon Sleeper. I think it's the shooting star sleeper that she does for a submission. Man, I love that dropkick as a finisher because again, it makes sense. Somebody's running at you as fast as she is with the dropkick, kicking you in the head. Yeah, that works. And this match worked for me. Again, Uriah Hemi able to stay with May Sarah, really almost hold for hold in this match, and May doing a great job giving her enough in this match to make it look like, she's got a really great future in Stardom. And she does. I'm a huge fan of Uriah Hemi. Every time that I see her wrestle, her stock for me keeps going up and up and up. And this was just another prime example. Good, sir. 3.5 stars for me.
May Sarah's in an interesting point as well, obviously, with Suzuki defecting and creating her own faction. Sort of left her without a tag team partner. You've got Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki as the trio in Stardom currently. And May Sarah hasn't defended the high-speed belt since the start of March. So I'm really intrigued to see what's next because we've got a Korakuen Hall show coming up. I believe the next Korakuen Hall show is that matchup, that show I mentioned earlier on June 8th. Maybe we see a championship defense there. Who we will be against, I don't know. She's obviously already defended against Xena, Yuna Mizumori, Momokogo, Saki Kashima, Fukigen Death. We saw an interesting little matchup between her and Rani Yagami at KBS Hall. I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that. It's interesting. I just, at the moment, there seems to be a couple of talent.
She did lose 2 singles matches recently, as recent as of today, as this recording, with one May Saruga. So
she did. That is very true. That is very true.
And correct me if I'm wrong, partner. Didn't she lose a championship match in Korakuen Hall at the last Korakuen Hall show?
Uvia.
So there's 2 right there. And I wouldn't say no to Rani Yagami. But yeah, we need to get this belt being defended a little bit more often just because I just really want to see May Sarah in a high-speed match because she's so darn good. She's so darn good.
Do you know what? It's not even that for me. It is the fact that we introduced this new rule set and we've only had 2 matches with this brand new rule set. And it feels like we needed, 3 or 4 matches to really get over these rules.
Get used to them, yeah. Get acclimated with it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it is quite a change, the 2 out of 3 falls, the 10-minute time limit, the 10 count, on the outside, the ring, those sorts of things. I feel like, especially the next time she defends, it will be interesting to know how many people actually remembered that there's been a rule change at all in these matches. So that's something that I think it just needs, again, bringing back into the consciousness somewhat.
Well, if they listen to the Stardom Cast, we shall remind them each and every time, Rob. So we're here to educate the masses. Yes, we are doing the Lord's work, folks. The Lord's work.
Every time. Hazuki Koguma and Akira Kuragane against Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurora, and Emma Maishima. Matt, we've talked about Kikyo, talked about how she has done. How do you think Emma did here against a particularly vicious Hazuki and a particularly not vicious Kuma?
Yeah, I liked how it started off with Akira and Emma with the chain wrestling. Again, holds are really good. No daylight in the holds. They didn't look weak. They look like they can actually hurt somebody. You know, you never want to put a hold on somebody that's like, you couldn't break an egg with that. Really great stuff. You know, they were able to tighten everything up. I thought that was a great start of the match. I would like to see, maybe me being a little selfish, I really want to see a tag match with some time with FWC versus Sayaka and Aya. I think that would be really great. Yeah, their stuff I thought was excellent there. But obviously, you have FWC did a good job making sure everybody else in the match shine. Hazuki comes in towards the end of the match. She does what she does best, and that's kick ass in the best way possible. And then we get a mini match with Koguma and Emma. Obviously, Koguma is the high-speed genius, a former high-speed champion. We saw Emma in her first match going up against, in my opinion, the greatest high-speed champion of all time in Azumi, and go hold for hold with her. And I always said that her the three big debuts that we saw last week between Marigold and Stardom, I think Emma had the her degree of difficulty was the highest, because let me tell you something, cardio in pro wrestling, especially in that style match, really tough to do. Her and Koguma had great exchanges. Again, we mentioned high-speed challengers. We need them. We have one right here. She was able to go hold for hold with the high-speed genius and Koguma. Really great flash finish. And Koguma getting a win. Again, another win that we've seen with a rarely used move. Not only the rear naked choke, but basically the airplane spin with their rear naked choke. Solid stuff. Again, everybody looked really good. I thought Akira looked great. They did a great job highlighting Emma, especially towards the end, only for the Kuma to get the win before her flight to Texas. 3 3/4 stars for me. A great, great match. And again, anytime we see FWC together, whether it's a 2-on-2, a 3-on-3, or 4-on-4, they just remind me why they're one of, if not the best tag team in all of wrestling. And they proved it here, partner.
I'm intrigued because, again, we've seen a lot of partnerships between FWC and either Akira Kuragane or Suzu Suzuki. Do we think it's imminent? FWC joining Mivida Loca. Obviously, you've got Rini Yamashita and Itsuki Aoki, who are freelancers and therefore aren't available for every show. You do need more members in that faction. I feel like Hazuki in particular would fit that mold, especially of Suzuki's sort of craziness that she seems to be embracing. And to be honest, you could argue that there's no one more crazy on this roster than Koguma at times. So I do feel like they are being placed with the likes of Akira a lot on purpose.
Wouldn't make sense, but at the same time, you give them 6 members, Rob, and there's other factions that need them. So my guess would be either Club Venus, because they have no members.
They don't. You're absolutely right.
And Stars, because they have 3. So can you imagine they just go right
Do you
back
know what?
to
I
Stars?
reckon Hazuki and Koguma would be a really good fit for Stars. I wouldn't have even thought about that.
I think like they would make the really good jackets. You know what I mean? Like they have,
yes. Yeah. Do you know what? I reckon that Hazuki and Hana would get on really, really well.
Like sisters, like best friends. You gotta, wow. Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. Oh my goodness. No, but I totally agree. I think that once it's time for them to join a faction, I think that they join Mi La Vida Loca. And then we can get the name of the team that I told Suzu Suzuki in Las Vegas, Suzu Ha Suzuki. So
there you go. Suzu Ha Suzuki. Moving on to the not the semi-main event, the 4th match on the card, God's Eye versus Hate. Again, I wasn't too disgruntled at the fact that Fukigen Death was once again cheated out of a victory simply because we gave a little bit of airtime to Lady C, who I think has earned it. So overall, I quite enjoyed this match. Even though we had the comedy stylings of Fukigen Death and Saki Kashima, who, again, is always an absolute delight in these matches, we got Saya Kamatani and Shiori, which is a match I so desperately want to see. Oh, my God, imagine that for the red belt. But we also got to see a bit of Rani Yagami as well, who, again, we've talked about all of these different rookies. Rani Yagami is someone who continues to impress. And what I'm genuinely impressed about is the fact that they've redone her render so that all of her nails are now painted and not missing that one, because that was really bothering me.
It was so funny because I'm looking at this render like 3 seconds before you said it. I'm like, oh, all of her nails. I'm like, oh, Rob's talking about it. How about that? Again, brother, half a world away, and me and
Half
you're on
the
the
world
same
away, my
page,
friend.
which is either really, really good or really, really bad. Nothing in between. As far as this match goes, yeah, as soon as it starts, you're like, oh man, I just want to see Sherry versus Saya Kamatani. I really, because we have not got that since the 2021 5-star Grand Prix, and Sherry somehow is better now than she was then. And Saya Kamatani really didn't start hitting that stride until the end of 2021, and has not only not come down from it, seemingly somehow gotten better. Again, in my opinion, the two best wrestlers in the world back in 2022. So you just really want to see said match. We got a little bit of a glimpse here, not too much. But for me, it's the heart and soul of this match was the beginning and the middle with Azusa and Rana. Again, you talk about styles that make fights. They have the same style where it's like, we're just going to hit each other as hard as possible. And we're going to apologize afterwards because that's what this match needs. Obviously, Natsuko Tora, she's the hammer. She does a great job on the heat building process. We have the comedic stylings of Fuki and Death and Saki Kashima. So you throw all that in there, and ultimately you get a really great closing sequence with Fuki and Death and Lady C. But not only Lady C getting the win, Lady C getting win with a giant choke slam on Fuki and Death to get the win. You got all this done in about 10 minutes, and you're just like, well, how can you get that done in 10 minutes? Because, of course, you have to start the match off with a wild brawl, Rob, because why not? That's it, hate's going to hate. A Wedo tie is going to Wedo tie for all of you old time listeners of said show. By old time, I mean a year ago or so.
Yeah.
But ultimately, yeah, really fun match. 3 3/4 stars for me. Lady C getting a big win. Again, partner, Sherry versus Saya Kamatani. If they don't pull the trigger on it for the red belt because Sherry's going to IWGP champion, I get it. But if we can get in the 5-star Grand Prix, they love to load that night one and that final night. Not unless they do the playoff situation like they did last year, which I'm all for. But I really think we need a Shuri versus Saya Kamatani singles match somewhere this year. And again, don't necessarily have to be for the championship. It can be a special singles match in Cork and Hall, or give it to us on night one of the 5-star Grand Prix. Again, talking about a match I want to see, Azusa and Ron Yugami. Yes, please. Really fun stuff here. Again, it's really nice to see God's Eye kind of at full strength here. Again, 3 3/4 stars for me, partner.
Yeah, whilst both Saya and Shuri hold top belts in the company, I don't see them facing off for a title. But I think having them face each other on the opening night of the 5-star Grand Prix is a great shout.
Yeah, your main event. That'd be a great main event for that night one, because we get spoiled with that. It really is. You don't see too much storyline in the 5-star Grand Prix because it's all about the tournament. But really, just about every year since like 2017, 2018, the first night of night one of the 5-star Grand Prix, as far as match one to the final match goes, it's one of the best nights in wrestling, in all of wrestling, not just in Stardom. So, and it's right around the corner. Speaking of which, buddy, I'm sorry I got on a tangent here. I did have a couple people already ask if we're going to be doing a bracketology for the 5-star Grand Prix, and I said yes. We do it every year. It's one of our favorite episodes to do.
It is,
and
indeed.
It also drives Rob crazy. Not as much as the Cinderella tournament because of the single elimination. But however, yeah, we will be doing I think it was 4 or 5 people this past week asked me if we're going to be doing a bracketology of the 5-star Grand Prix. Oh, hell yeah, we are. Oh,
hell yes. Yeah, we'll do a full preview. It tends to be one of the longer episodes that we do, and when our average at the moment is about 2.5 hours. It's going to be a long one. But yes, it would not surprise me if Shuri and Saya Kamatani are on the same block. And I think that's a great main event for night one. Perfect, in fact. Moving on then to the semi-main event, Cosmic Angels versus EXV. Matt, Rian continues to be beaten pillar to post and still can't quite get that pinfall.
We talked about a couple of minutes ago about the trio of stars. There's only 3 of them that are in there with Momo Kogo and Winggori. With all the injuries going on, obviously Mina leaving to go to AEW, there's only 3 people in EXV right now with Waka, Hanako, and Rian. And they're gelling really well together as well. Again, another, I would not be hurt if they challenge and or win the artist belts because they worked really well together. And then you're throwing in Yuna Mizumori, her and Mai Sakurai, in my opinion, the 2 most improved wrestlers in all of wrestling over the last year and change. And I made mention Winggori, probably the best tag team in the world. Sorry, Poi is right up there as well. And I'm so excited for their match coming up this weekend. But once again, very much like in Korakuen Hall, Natsupoi going out of her way to put over Ryan. Not only Natsupoi, but Soriano a lot in this match as well. Ryan is really, really good. Somebody that's really, really coming into her own. And the fact you're taking two next level talents like Natsupoi and Soriano to make sure she gets to that level. I mean, that's really great stuff. We had great hard hitting stuff with Yuna and Hanako. Waka has a spotlight on her now, Rob. We keep mentioning that Waka, she has flashes of brilliance in a lot of matches, but sometimes is overshadowed because of a Mina, a Xena, a Micah. And they are not there. They are not there. So Waka is getting a lot of shine on her, and given the ball, she's scoring touchdowns. She's doing a great job. This was a phenomenal semi-main event. I had it at 4 stars. Ultimately, Soriano with 2 German suplexes. And her, again, you talk about some of the greatest underrated German suplexes in all of wrestling. Soriano has one of the best German suplexes. Again, I just don't know if she has a spine or whatever, but her bridging is just absolutely insane. The way that she builds to that German suplex and that step up kick that she does to kind of, work towards it. Really great stuff. Again, I'm all about this EXV team getting a major, major push while we're waiting for Micah to come back. Again, brother, 4 stars for me. I thought this was just the definition of wrestlers helping each other out in a semi-main event to get the match over. But ultimately, your 2 big stars are the ones that shine at the end, and Natsupoi and Soriano.
Yeah, it's an interesting one with EXV because it does very much feel similar to what you said with Uriah hit me earlier on the card. It's very much a single swim thing. They haven't got that powerful figure to rally around that they had with Micah, that they had with Mina, that star almost. And, Hanako, as we saw in that Wonder of Stardom Championship match last week, that is clearly the bigger personality in this group. However, they are being forced to band together and to become stronger in the absence of your leader in Micah. And I think Waka is certainly one that is benefiting from that spotlight. And obviously the story with Ryan and her just woeful win-loss record, bless her, is obviously a pivotal part of EXV as well. Moving on to your main event, then the Artist of Stardom Championships. Neo Genesis successfully retaining. Again, it was elimination rules, which meant that over the top rope was a elimination as well. So the eliminations are as follows. Azumi eliminated Konami with the Azumi Sushi in 11 minutes and 49 seconds, though that was after an errant crate shot from Ruaka. Itsuki Aoki eliminated Azumi with a diving body press in 15 minutes and 11 seconds. Rina eliminated Itsuki Aoki with the jackknife pin in 16 minutes and 39 seconds. Rina, Yamashita, and Rina both eliminated themselves via over the top rope in 18 minutes and 17 seconds. Continuing on from their Korakuen Hall exchange, which was very nice. Suzu Suzuki eliminated Starlight Kid via over the top rope in 20 minutes and 7 seconds. Suzu Suzuki versus Starlight Kid for the white belt, maybe, although I can't see them giving Suzu Suzuki another loss this soon. Ruaka and Rina then both teamed up to eliminate Suzu Suzuki a couple of seconds later, 20 minutes and 16 seconds. And then, as I mentioned, Miyu Amasaki, who had a really solid weekend when you consider that she got the winning pinfall here and she got the winning pinfall in her hometown of Kyoto on the next day, eliminating Ruaka with the Amana Hashidate in 22 minutes and 44 seconds. Matt, we wondered how this was going to work, this 3-way. It's, again, as we mentioned at the start of this show, it's not a formula that Stardom have used very often for the Artist of Stardom Championships, presumably just because of the sheer volume of people that are in the ring. But I think these 3 teams accented each other very, very well. You've got Hate, who are the brawlers, Mavida Loca, who are still the brawlers, but are also just mad. I mean, where else are you going to see on a Stardom show umbrella lightsaber fights? And then you've got, of course, Neo Genesis with the likes of Starlight Kid and Azumi, who are incredibly athletic, and Miyu Amasaki, who every time she's given that ball, you talk about people scoring touchdowns, Miyu Amasaki is on that list as well.
Yeah, when this match was announced at the end of Korakuen, a lot of people were like, how's this going to work? And even we said, how's it going to work? But we know it's going to work because any other wrestling company, you kind of be like, this might be okay. It might get a little too jumbled. It might get a little bit too busy. But like we've seen Stardom pull this off time and time again. And Rob Goodman, to the shock of nobody, Stardom
it was
pulled
great.
This off time and time again. Yeah, this was when I did my Saturday YouTube video, top 5 favorite matches of the week. This finished in at number 3 behind Utami, Mirai, and of course the Nai Takahashi versus Miko Ano match. This was just amazing. And it blows my mind how they're able to do this with 3 teams, 9 wrestlers. They're able to get across so many stories. And if you take a step back and you break it down, it's easy, really, the psychology of this to make sense. You have Hate, your clear heels. You have Mila Vita Loca, pretty much like your tweeners. And then you have your super cool over baby faces in your champions in Neo Genesis. And Rob, no disrespect to any of the wrestlers in this match. Everybody was great. Everybody shined. Everybody got really cool stuff to do. Here was a clear onset who the 3 best wrestlers in this ring were: Suzu Suzuki, Starlight Kid, and Azumi. And not only in the ring, they're 3 of the best wrestlers in all of wrestling. They are special, special talents. I think they're all the same age. I think they're 22, 23, something like that. Like, again, everybody looked great. Don't get me wrong. Konami was great. And we made mention at the end of last year, beginning of this year, when Konami's not overly cheating, she's one of our favorite wrestlers to watch. And she's kind of taken a step back from him and only done like a little bit here and there when it's needed. She was terrific here. I like the Rina versus Rina feud. I don't know if they realize what they have. I don't know if they realize what they have, but they have a diamond in the rough here with Rina and Rina going at each other and it makes sense. And again, we're looking for things for Rina, Hate Rina, to do, obviously coming off again that great title challenge she had with Starlight Kid. And we're probably going to try to build her back up for a really good run in the 5-star Grand Prix. Let her and Rina Yamashita do something because they just seem to work really well together. I thought getting Aoki a clean win over Azumi in the middle of the ring, Rob, that's something to look out for. Maybe she gets a shot at the New Japan Strong Championship. I wouldn't say no to that. I thought that she was terrific. Starlight Kid and Suzu, you're right, buddy. They worked really well together. And maybe her and Suzu is the way to go at the conversion for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. I know you said you don't want to beat Suzu Suzuki yet again, but at the same time, you're looking to do 2,600 people in that venue. We're 3 weeks away, and there's no official match announced. We have to start getting some matches or have an idea of where we're going. Outside of IWGP, we don't know where we're going. Again, from what I saw the other day, 11 of the 13 sections in the Yoyogi Stadium are either sold out or nearing sellout with no official matches. We got to start announcing some matches so we can start doing some build-up. Suzu Suzuki and Starlight Kid is a big matchup that is going to fill a lot of seats, Rob. They're going to fill a lot of seats, and I thought they were absolutely terrific here. And in Ruaka, very much playing her role really well. Did a great job highlighting her missing with the hate crate. She's starting to get up there with Momo. Obviously, Momo Watanabe is on the shelf. We can't wait to see her get back. She's now taking the Momo Watanabe role of accidentally hitting one of her members, either with Momo's doing with the kick or the baseball bat. She had a really bad average with that. Now it's just like, okay, Momo's hurt. Who's going to pick up the slack? And Ruaka's like, I got it. You don't worry about it, girls. I'm going to hit you over the head as many times as possible with this damn hate crate. This is just another genius level Artist of Stardom Championship match. Again, that everybody looked great on. Towards the end, it's all about highlighting Miyu Amasaki. My guess is she's going to have a really big spring to springboard her into the summer, into the 5-star Grand Prix. I don't see her winning it, but I can see her being our breakout star of said tournament. They did a really good job highlighting her in this match, especially towards the end. Rob Goodwin, 4.25 stars for me. This hit on so many different levels. I don't know how they did it, but they did it again, and I wasn't shocked. I was literally entertained from the start of the bell all the way to the end. There was no low points in this match. Again, everybody got over. Everybody had something to do. Everybody had underlining stories that we could see going forward. And again, maybe Suzu versus Starlight Kid is the way to go. Maybe Azumi, her first challenge is Aoki for the New Japan Strong Championship. And again, Rina versus Rina. Because why not? Who doesn't want to see that? Who does not want to see that? Again, 4.25 stars, absolutely brilliant.
My only question really coming out of this is who do you have challenge Neo Genesis now? My immediate mind went to Stars.
Yep. I'm with that one, or EXV, or the Machines. We haven't seen them in a while.
We haven't seen them in a while.
You know, or the Tauntauns. Or the Tauntauns.
Or the Tauntauns. Well, I must admit, Marigold did make me laugh. They announced that Natsumi Shizuki and Naoya Ishikawa were both off the upcoming Burning Desire cards, but also made a point to say that so is Gigaton.
Love and they put the graphics up of all 3 of them. Yeah. They're all separate. They're all
Love it.
separate. Well, what did I say last time when I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago they were both off the shows and I was with illness. I said, well, I think they're really good friends. They were hanging out a cold, and if you're hanging out with somebody who's got a cold, there's a chance that you may get a cold. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, buddy. But in all seriousness, to answer your question, I think you have to go with Stars. I think Stars are the next in line because you just keep having these great matches, and you can put any 3 wrestlers in Stardom up against these 3, and you're going to have a great match. But I think that would be your next level great match, and maybe you do that next Corkin. Obviously, I don't think you're going to do it at the conversion because I think you're going to get. I really think you're going to get Azumi challenging Saya Kamatani and Starlight Kid versus. I don't know yet. And there could be somebody else challenging because once we get to the preview of the Natsupoi Soriano show, Soriano did say in all this press that she's doing that after said show that she wants to turn into a different Soriano. So maybe Soriano does challenge Saya Kamatani at the end of the show, Rob.
Well, I certainly wouldn't hate that. Let's put it that way. Moving to the show in Kyoto on Sunday, the 25th of May, 2025. This was not live on YouTube. It was only live on Stardom World, but it did take part in the beautiful KBS Hall in Kyoto. The attendance 454. Now, this is the first time Stardom have run the venue this year, though the house was a 10.28% decrease on the last time they ran the venue, which was all the way back in August 2024 as a part of the 5-star Grand Prix, which surprised me. I thought they'd run it considerably more than that, but I think it's just because we watch Marigold now, and Marigold run it quite often. It is, however, interestingly, the second highest attendance at the venue this year. In fact, of the 7 shows, well, 6, considering one didn't report their attendance, only the Fantastica Mania Tour show between New Japan and CMLL has drawn higher than this show, and that drew 792 on the 24th of February. So Stardom outdrawing both Marigold and Dragon Gate on their shows this year. The results then are as follows. We open with a 6-woman tag. The hate team of Saya Kamatani, Rina, and Azusa Inaba defeating Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, and Emma Maishima, with Rina pinning Emma with the diving double knee drop in 13 minutes and 26 seconds. 6-woman tag team match. Saki Kashima, Tomoka Inaba, and Waka Tsukiyama defeated Hana, Momokogo, and Kikyo Furusawa. Saki Kashima pinning Kikyo with perhaps the most devastating move in the entirety of Stardom. It has now been given an official name as well, which is brilliant. It's called the Bean Sprout Drop. In 8 minutes and 47 seconds. Tag team match. The hate team of Konami and Ruaka defeated Sairida and Uriah Hime, with Ruaka pinning Uriah Hime with a neck hanging bomb in 12 minutes. Tag team action, and this was the match, of course, I was talking about. Fukuoka Double Crazy, Hazuki and Koguma defeating Mivida Loco, Akira Kurogane, and Suzu Suzuki. Hazuki pinning Akira with a diving senton in 12 minutes and 13 seconds. In your semi-main event, as you mentioned, Matt, a match that over-delivered, Hanako defeating Rian with a JP Coaster in 10 minutes and 5 seconds. And then in your 8-woman tag, can't count, Neo Genesis, Miyu Amasaki, the hometown girl, Azumi Stark, and Maesera defeating the God's Eye team of Shiori Lady C, Ron Yagami, and Hina, Miyu Amasaki pinning Lady C with the Tenzai in 15 minutes and 31 seconds. So it is worth pointing out the Lady C had to eat everyone's finisher like she was some sort of boss mode before Miyu Amasaki could pin her with the Tenzai. Something else that's interesting, obviously we had the raft of injuries, which we've still got in Stardom, but there was a lot of people missing as well. Soriano was missing from this show due to participation on Oz Academy's Shadow Strike show at 176 Box in Osaka. We also had Natsupoi Sayaka Kurora and Natsuko Tora, who were missing from the show due to their participation on Dun Matsumoto's Villainous Festival show in Shinkiba First Ring. So we still had some absences as we headed into this show. Matt, Emma Maishima, Rina pinning her with the diving double knee drop. How do you think she fared against the nefarious hate?
I mean, you're literally putting Emma in the ring with, in my opinion, probably the best wrestler in all of wrestling this year, Saya Kamatani. So you're kind of getting that aura vibes there. And Saya does a good job giving her, enough stuff here. I thought Emma was great. she was the focal point in said match because that's the way she's going to get better. Azusa and Aya, I think they were like, let's see who can kick each other the hardest and try to break said shatter the glass in KBS Hall. And speaking of which, I noticed it during the show, and I noticed it obviously if you're looking at on YouTube. They did a great job on the renders doing the beautiful glass stained window with wrestlers as if it's like the gladiator games in like the 1400s. I thought that was a really cool added aspect to it. Rina and Yuna, really great exchanges. Yuna and Saya Kamatani, excellent stuff as well. This hate trio, again, you talk about we're looking at next challengers for artist belts. I would have no problem seeing Saya, Rina, and Azusa take on Miyu, Starlight Kid, and Azumi. I think that would be, I know that would be an excellent match. Great stuff from Emma, her and Rina. The fact that Rina is 18 years old and led Emma to a really good little mini match towards the end, I thought was just really terrific. Again, these rookies from Stardom, and again, these wrestlers that are wrestling a little over a year, and then Aya and a Sayaka, and then an Azusa who's still into her teens, and Rina as well. Just excellent stuff. I mean, the future of Stardom is all in this match. 3.5 stars, buddy. Almost 14 minutes to tell the story. Again, you want to start your match off with a hot opener. Not only do you have a hot opener, but you have a hot opener with an act that is over in hate, especially with Saya Kamatani. And then on the other side, Yuna coming out, so much energy, so much passion, for lack of a better term. A really great way to start said show. Again, 3.5 stars for me, partner.
Stars and God's Eye plus Waka. Perhaps one of the most devastating moves in all of wrestling was brought into the fore here when Tomoka Inaba decided to just body slam Saki Kashimura on top of Kikyo for Saki to get the win. Saki over the moon to get the pinfall, not so over the moon with the move that was used. But yes, as I mentioned, her being body slammed on top of the rookie has now been christened the Bean Sprout Drop.
She has some of the most devastating moves in all of wrestling, buddy. The Kishik aside, the Bean Sprout Drop. I mean, we keep saying who's going to win the 5-star Grand Prix. Is it this person? Is it this person? I mean, when you have the two most devastating moves in maybe the history of pro wrestling, how are you betting against Saki Kashima? And maybe she gets another video game sponsorship going into said tournament.
I forgot about that.
So funny with so many killers. They gave it to her. Yeah. Again, Kikyo and Waka starting this match off. Great chain wrestling. Again, Waka is got more spotlight on her. And again, when this match started, you're looking at the graphic, you're like, okay, what is the matchup you want to see broken down? Obviously, it's Hana and Tomoka Inaba. We've seen them have matches before, especially in the night one of this year's Cinderella tournament. They're next level talent. For me, Rob, obviously getting Kikyo reps in this match, that's the main thing to do, right? But for me, Momo Kogo and Tomoka Inaba, I was like, ooh, they're a pairing that I didn't know that I wanted until I saw it. They worked really well together. Momo Kogo really brought the intensity because she had to, because it's Tomoka Inaba. But ultimately, buddy, it was just this random trio of Waka, Tomoka, and Saki Kashima, which is fine. I got no problem with this on the Stardom World show that really worked together for us to get the Bean Sprout Drop onto the young rookie Kyoko. It's gonna be interesting to see if she comes back next week, buddy, because it might be taped up with the ribs. You know what I mean? Might be something that. She might be taped up from that devastating move. 3.25 stars for me, my friend. Again, solid enough match. I really want to see Momo Kogo and Tomoka Inaba tear it down, my friend.
Maybe one day. Maybe we'll see it in the 5-star, like you say. Maybe. Uriah Hemi and Saida versus Konami and Ruaka. It's an interesting partnership, Uriah Hemi and Saida, Matt. How did you think they fared together?
They worked really well together, and I made mention on the main event of the show we just reviewed with Konami, Ruaka, and Rina in the match. Konami and Ruaka really stuck out in that artist match as a really great tag team, and they did a great job here hammering it home. Again, we're looking for challengers soon in the in the end of spring, beginning of summer for Winggori, and you have it right here. Konami and Ruaka and one half of the tag champs worked really well together. Again, Uriah Hemi is another one that is flying up that ladder so fast, so quick. Does a great job with the strikes, with the firing up, knowing where and when to sell to the crowd, but not overselling so she can emote that crowd reaction. And Ruaka and Konami, they do their job perfectly when it's time for her to come back. They feed the comeback. they sell, and they get Uriah Hime over. Saida's the hammer here. Again, she was terrific. Great stuff with Ruaka. Great stuff with Konami, the chop and kick exchange, form exchange. That's right up my alley. But ultimately, it's Ruaka getting the win with the choke slam, the double choke bomb. 3.5 stars for me, partner. I thought this was great. Again, Uriah Hime, somebody that her stock goes up each and every time I see her. I'll make mention again. I would like to see Ruaka and Konami challenge Winggori for those Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships sometime soon.
Something that, like, we mentioned the fact that there's no matches announced for the conversion, but it doesn't feel like there are any matches sort of lined up.
No, that's what I said. Other than IWGP, with as long as Sherry gets passed out. Other than that, there's nothing.
But it's not like we're close to anything either, which is what I mean. Like, it's not even like we can point to, right, well, they're building, obviously, Saya Kamatani versus insert name here. Right, well, they're obviously doing Starlight Kid versus insert name here. There doesn't seem to, just you talking about Goddesses of Stardom challenges. It's like, I can't think of anyone that, like, is... And obviously, I know there has been a tremendous amount of upheaval, and that probably hasn't helped in terms of build, stars going down to a trio and things like that. But yeah, I can't think of anyone that's like heated up to a point where you're like, right, well, they're challenging for this belt, they're challenging for this belt.
The only thing I can think of, buddy, is if they do a Neo Genesis versus Hate match, and then Azumi challenges Saya Kamatani because Azumi pinned Saya like 2 weeks before that big match in Yokohama. Like, remember this? And then you can heat that up there. But you're right. Other than Sherry versus Sari, I don't know where they're going with any of these championship matches. My guess is, though, you're going to be getting a red belt defense and a white belt defense. Because one, it's a pay-per-view, and two, again, you're looking to do 2,500 tickets in this venue, so you need to have those two championships defended. Are there people that I would love to see? Absolutely. Do I see Starlight Kid and Kamatani dropping said belts at show? No, because they're phenomenal and they're great money drawers, and I want to see them as champions for as long as possible. But you're right, there's really nothing they have in the can. And again, we're 3 weeks away, and we really don't have many, and you said at the beginning of the show, many Stardom shows to build to. That's why I think we may get something at this Story Boy show. I think we may get something on said show.
So because just looking.
Go on. But I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, because it's a pay-per-view and it's in Oda Ward Gym, there's going to be a lot of people there. So why not use this show as your basically push towards your next pay-per-view? That would make sense for me. I know Saya Kamatani's not on that show. There's a possibility she's in the building and there's a challenge there. Obviously, Starlight Kid is on the show in a big match, so there's something there. Winggori's in the show in a big match, so there's something there. Again, I just think that because of what Soriano said, is that she said that when she came to Stardom full-time 2 years ago, she was doing really well, but she said something along the lines of she's felt stale and something needs to happen after said show. I don't like to use the Lord's name in vain. I swear to God, if she turns on Natsuko, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be so mad, Rob Goodwin. But my guess is that she's going to issue a challenge for Saya Kamatani.
Yeah, just looking at the Stardom calendar, obviously discounting New Blood, there's only 3 shows before the conversion.
Wow.
You've got the Korakuen show on the 8th. You have got the Numazu show on the 14th and the Maibara show on the 15th. And then it's the conversion.
So right now we need to take this time to apologize for these episodes will probably not go 2.5 to 3 hours, folks. We're just telling you right now that these next Stardom Cast shows will not be 3 hours.
Well, no. Although, like I say, the week after we at least have a Korakuen Hall show, so a lot I imagine will be set up at that show. But it's just, yeah, it's very interesting that we got no real heat towards any of those matches. Moving on then. FWC versus Suzu Suzuki and Akira Kurogane. And again, I will repeat, this is why I want to see FWC in Mi Vida Loca, because they mesh so well with Suzu and Akira. Suzu Suzuki in particular, obviously, and we've seen them team together, but this is what I want to see. This is a great tag team match, to be fair, Matt.
I mean, of course it was. You have Suzu Suzuki, next level wrestler. Akira, she's really, really gelling well. And again, I'm already thinking about teams for the tag league. I got no problem with Suzu and Akira because they work great together in FWC. Again, Winggori, Story Point, FWC, the three best tag teams in all of wrestling, in my opinion. This was great stuff. They gave enough to Akira. I like that anytime that Akira or Suzu got an advantage, it was the FWC teamwork, because obviously they've been teaming a lot longer. So that they use that to their advantage. Makes sense. Great violence with Suzu and Hazuki. But ultimately, the violence really came down to Hazuki and Akira, especially Akira took it and gave it back to Hazuki. And that's like Hazuki's, that's what you want as a wrestler. It's like, look, I'm going to hit you hard, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to hit me hard back. Make it count. And that's like Hazuki in a nutshell as a pro wrestler. Plus, she's no days off Hazuki. She's the wrestling machine and the people's champion as well. To so many levels, to probably my favorite wrestler in all of wrestling in Hazuki. But really just really great stuff with Hazuki and Akira towards the end. But again, Suzu and Akira, I believe this is their first actual tag match together, or not that they haven't had too many, because Akira's only been wrestling a handful of months. They gelled really, really well together. Instant chemistry, which again just goes to show you what a next level wrestler Suzu Suzuki is, to take this young rookie and have instant chemistry with her. Again, FWC, one of the best tag teams in all of wrestling. They knew how to build this match, how to make this match their own, ultimately getting the rookie over. But it's Suzu or Hazuki hitting one of the most insane sentons at the end. She hits that thing from like coming down from another level. Just the height,
She
and the
gets
velocity.
so much height. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
But this was something different. Then after the 3 count, she kind of tapped Akira on the shoulder as like, maybe it's like, yeah, that was our tryout for this this faction we're in. Or maybe we're telling you what faction we're coming into. But they gelled really well together. There's just another level of violence to Hazuki. It really seems ever since All-Star Grand Queendom, and Kagama is working on another level with her. 4 stars for me, my second favorite match of this show. This was fantastic. If you haven't seen this match yet, folks, go out of your way to see it, because this was violence personified, right up my alley. What great tag team wrestling mixed in between, buddy. This was terrific.
Semi-main event then, Rhiann's quest for that singles victory. Hitting another roadblock. It seems to be, as you mentioned, Matt, she seems to have your superpower of just hitting traffic at every single possible opportunity. She's improving without a shadow of a doubt, and that's obviously the story that we are going with. And when she does, we're sort of recycling that Waka Tsukiyama storyline from a couple of years ago, when she, obviously without the ultimatum of leaving the faction, because that would just leave rice or bread. We are developing Rhiann there. We're giving her something. We're giving her that additional spotlight. And then obviously teaming with Kaori Ito at the Natsupoi and Soriano show, wanting to learn, to want to be a better wrestler, to get those key pinfalls. It's a really good side to her character that they've added here.
Yeah, this was great, and I like that Waka came out towards the end, and they basically made mention like, "Hey, we're going to get stronger together." I really like that. Really interesting dynamic they're doing with EXV. Considering again, Zena's still on the shelf, Micah's going to be out for a little bit, even though she posted pictures of her horseback riding, drinking a flight of beer, fishing in the last 2 days. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to rest up. Sure, Micah. Absolutely, God bless her. We love Micah. But I think that this was a great pairing. This was a really great match. And obviously, you have the size advantage with Hanako overpowering Rhiann, but Rhiann used a lot of her speed and a lot of her technique to get the advantage in this match. That corner hurricanrana that she does, those blitzing drop kicks, really great fire, great fighting back. We made mention with Natsuko and Soriano the last few shows really helping elevate Rhiann to another level, and she really showed it here. She's really cashing in on the momentum, even though what losses that she had. Semi-main event, wrestling another young wrestler in her own faction in a over 400 people in a big venue like KBS Hall. These two really showed up. 10 minutes, I thought it was great. Again, Hanako getting the win with the JP coaster. I like that she's using that more instead of the stalling suplex that she's using. I buy that more as a finish. Plus, it's akin to the Jumbo Princess Himika. I'll always pop for that. 3 and 3/4 stars. I thought, even though with Rhiann with the win, her stock continues to go up, partner. I thought this was really good.
And then, of course, we get to the main event. Neo Genesis have a brand new dance, or at least a shortened dance, because they've cut Suzu Suzuki out of it. It's a work in progress. I'm sure it'll get there. But again, that Neo Genesis teamwork is unrivaled at the moment, it feels like, and they put on a really, really good performance here against God's Eye in the main event. Great to see Miyu Amasaki getting that pinfall, but it's Ronnie Agami and Mace Era. That's what I want to see for that high-speed title. That I think could be a really, really exciting match. And I think, since they bought that rule set in for the high speed belt, we've had Saki Kashima, who I don't think suits it. And I think we discussed that on the podcast. And Fukigen Death, who suited it a little bit better, but is a comedy character. I think Ronnie Yagami and Mei Seira would do a really, really good job of using those rules to their benefit.
Yeah, I'm all for that because Ron Yagami is the type of wrestler / fighter that can really put you out with just a few strikes, and that 10-minute time limit may mean nothing to her. You know what I mean? It's just like I only need a little bit to kind of put you out. Rob, you mentioned a few minutes ago about how Lady C ate the fall here, but she had to get the moonsault from Starlight Kid, the top rope double stomp from Azumi, and I believe it was the big drop kick from Mei Seira. Rob, have you ever and you're probably wondering, wow, they really had to drop the bombs on Lady C. I wonder why. Rob, did you ever play the Mega Man video games?
I did, yes.
So for those who don't know, real quick, if you in Mega Man, once you defeat one of the evil robots, you absorb their powers, and then you become stronger as the game goes on. Who did Lady C defeat the day before, Rob? Good one.
She defeated Fukigen Death with a top rope chokeslam, a huge double chokeslam.
So that's the reason why Neo Genesis, working as a great unit, realized that she now has the powers of the great alien that is Fukigen Death. In order for us to win, we have to drop all these ginormous moves on her. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. You're right, Rana and Mei Seira, they were terrific. Hina and Miyu Amasaki, we see them have some really great underrated matches before. Shuri, it's just insane how she mixes in with so many great different styles. She has so many great matches with Azumi, in the past. Last year at the 5-Star Grand Prix, Shuri and Starlight Kid, I believe it was night 1 of the 5-Star Grand Prix, stole the show. One of the best matches on the entire tournament. And again, they're two different styles, but Shuri knows how to adapt and work her shoot style against these high-speed style wrestlers, these high-impact, faster wrestlers as an Azumi, a Starlight Kid. I thought she was great. Her stuff with Miyu was terrific. Again, Shuri comes in. She knows what she's due. She knows what she needs to do to get the match over and get herself over. Ultimately, though, you're right, partner. The main crux of this match that I want to see coming out of this is Rana and Mei Seira. That's another potential high-speed challenger. And again, we need to start stacking these high-speed challengers up because, like you said, we didn't introduce a new rule set at the beginning of the year. We've only had 2 matches. So, again, there's a lot there they can do with it. Ultimately, though, they made Lady C look like an absolute badass before Neo Genesis comes in and looks like one of, if not the best, working faction in all of Stardom. Miyu Amasaki getting the win here makes sense. It's her hometown. She's the most over on the entire show. She hits the Tensai to defeat Lady C, giving her 2 wins on the weekend, 2 main event wins. As again, I think they're going to build up Miyu to have a heck of a run in the 5-Star Grand Prix. My favorite match of this show, partner, 4 stars for me. This was fantastic. And once again, 2 teams, 8 wrestlers, somehow Stardom, they do it better than anybody. Everything makes sense. Everybody gets over. Hot finish. Great match to end a fantastic show.
Yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned earlier that Stardom haven't got a great deal of shows coming up. And in fact, as we've mentioned, next week they've got 2 shows coming up. And one of those is Natsupoi and Saori Ano's 10th anniversary show. The full card for that has been announced, and goodness gracious me, it is a card and a half. I'm just going to quickly whip through this card. We've got a tag team match which sees Aina Aba and Maika Ozaki taking on Tei Honma and Yuna Manas. Yumiko Hotta and Miko Kanai versus Kiyoru Ito and Rian. Aya Sakura versus Sari. Sayaka Kurora versus Mayumi Ozaki, Yuna Mizumori versus Saki in a series of singles matches. We've then got the Tenkyu Rumble, which involves Sonoko Kato, Shin Hirota Sakura, Akino, Salvation Ninja. Don't know who that is, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Ryu Mizunami, Hiroyo Matsumoto, Sho Sekiguchi, Rina Amikura, Yuko Sakurai, and Suzu Suzuki. We've then got 2 tag team matches as well. The We Are Stardom tag team match that we talked about last week, Starlight Kid and Azumi teaming together against Hanan and Saya Ida. And then in what I presume is going to be your main event, Natsupoi and Saori Ano against Chihiro Hashimoto and Mika Iwata. May 31st. So this coming Saturday, available on pay-per-view. Definitely check it out, Matt Turner. It's going to be a banger of a pay-per-view without a shadow of a doubt.
I mentioned we did the Patreon segment that my favorite tag match in all of wrestling this year was Winggori versus Crazy Star. Those two tag matches with Starbomb versus Winggori and Chihiro Hashimoto and Mikawada versus Soriano and Natsupoi Soripoi, they may be 1 and 2. They may be 1 and 2. And the one match I'm really looking forward to, other than obviously those two matches, obviously everybody's looking at Sari versus Aya Sakura. Yuna Mizumori and Saki is a match I'm really looking forward to. Again, we've sing the praises of Yuna on this podcast quite a bit, but I'm a massive fan of Saki. We don't get to see her too much in Stardom. She had a great match at the Spark Joshi show that we were at over in Vegas. I'm a massive fan of her. I think her and Yuna are going to have a match that's going to steal the undercard. I'm excited to see Salvation Ninja. I wonder who that is. That's going to be really, really interesting. My guess, though, is Suzu Suzuki gets a win, and then maybe we set up her and Starlight Kid for the Wonder belt at the conversion. But ultimately, a really solid card, especially for those two tag matches. I'm really, really looking forward to this, the last day of May, coming up this Saturday, partner.
I just want it on record that I really don't want Suzu Suzuki to challenge for that white belt again. Not because I don't think it'll be great, not because I don't think she's great. I just don't want to give her another loss at the moment. She's hot. She's proved that she's, repeatedly that she's great in the ring. I think there's a lot of upside. The last thing I want to do is to curtail any momentum she has by then handing her another title loss with Starlight Kid having already lost for the red belt and the Goddesses of Stardom belts this year and the Artist of Stardom belts this year. So, we don't want to make it that sort of Grand Slam. That's the worst kind of Grand Slam for Suzu Suzuki. Final thing that I just wanted to touch on, obviously Stardom are running the New Blood show on the 4th. We've already been through that card, but I just wanted to remind you that we have got Stardom participation on the Catch the Wave tournament in Pro Wrestling Wave. 2 matches taking place with Stardom wrestlers on the 1st of June, the first of which is taking place in your Mercury block. Hazuki will be making her first match. Will be having her first match in the tournament, taking on Nanami, who's currently 1-1 in the tournament. Again, Shinjuku face. 1st of June, that is Hazuki's first match, Mercury block. We've also got Ronnie Ugami as well will be in action in the Saturn block. So that is to take place on the 1st of June. I'm just trying to find who Ronnie Ugami is taking on. Miyuki Takase. There you go.
Ooh.
So some really, really good matchups on this card, but those are the 2 that involve Stardom wrestlers, as I mentioned. Hazuki versus Nanami Hatano and Miyuki Takase versus Rana Ugami. Rana, of course, is 1-1 at the moment. And Matt, that actually brings us to an end of our podcast. 2 hours and 2 minutes. Unheard of.
No, we didn't. You missed something.
Do you know what? It's been a while since I've missed out, my friend. It's been a while.
That's what we do, buddy. You want to make sure I was paying attention. I know what you're doing.
That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I wanted you to do. But I think it is about time, seeing as we've only been going for 2 hours. We drop in and we check in with EO and Kyrie Watch.
Absolutely, and of course, big ups to my man Darren giving me the time cues for said yes, because there was a backstage segment and a really good match once again 2 weeks in a row. More of a Kyrie watch than an EO watch. So we go to backstage segment where we see the 2 former World of Stardom champions at EO and Kyrie having a conversation. But the mean girls of Monday Night Raw, of Raquel and Liv Morgan, come up. They talk all sorts of trash. And then Kyrie gets in Liv Morgan's face and says, "You meet me in the ring for a match tonight." They have a match. Really, Kyrie comes out, all sorts of fire. Forearms, chops, like really brings the fire to Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan does a great job taking punishment. Like she's got no problem getting her ass kicked. And Kairi kicks her ass early in this match, only for Liv Morgan's first really big spot of this match, because why not, Rob, is to Kairi coming back from injury. And what does she do? She takes a power bomb off the apron to the floor, because that's our pirate princess. That's our pirate princess. Back in the ring we go. Liv hits the three amigos for a 2 count. Kairi starts building her comeback up. She hits Liv Morgan with a big spear and a corner sliding D for a 2 count. Kairi then goes to the top elbow smash. That scores her a 2 count, and then comes back, locking in the anchor again, really, really grinding down on the former women's world champion. And I think when she locked in the anchor, she said, EO 13, U12, my ass. I could be wrong. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's me. Liv eventually starts building her comeback up. We see Raquel get involved a little bit in said match. She goes for the Oblivion. That gets blocked, but what does not get blocked is the stiff cutlass that Kairi hits to Liv Morgan. She goes for it a second time. That gets blocked, and Liv hits the back stabber for a 2 count. Kairi then goes for the top rope. Looked like she's going to hit for the insane elbow, but Roxanne Perez interferes. Roxanne Perez clearly is trying to get in to this faction with not only this relationship with Dominic Mysterio by giving Dominic Mysterio chicken nuggets. Obviously, Liv and Raquel Rodriguez does not want Liv Morgan anywhere near the two of them. So we see Raquel and Roxanne Perez get into an argument outside. That distracts Liv Morgan and gives Kairi the advantage for a roll-up for the 3 count. Rob, good one. Kairi getting a win over former women's champion Liv Morgan, and what was really a fantastic match. If you have not seen it, definitely go and check it out. This was a great match. Liv Morgan, as much as we joke on her for her being rated higher than Mayu and Io in last year's PWI Women's 250, she's a great wrestler. She really is, especially when she's in the ring with somebody like Kairi. Great match. Kairi getting the win. 4 stars for me, partner.
And with that, he says, looking at Matt, making sure he hasn't missed anything else out. He doesn't think he has. He's getting a wink. So, yes, I assume I haven't. That does bring to an end this episode of the Stardom Cast. Thank you to everyone that has tuned in. You guys are the best. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We are literally everywhere. Literally on any podcast app of your choosing. If you could leave us a 5-star review and a comment, that would really help us out as well. If you don't want to wait for your episodes, get patreon.com/the StardomCast, where you can get all of these episodes early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month. You can also go to talkjoshi.com for all of your news, reviews, history, stats, archived episodes, all of that good stuff over at talkjoshi.com. You can find us on social media at the StardomCast, apart from Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads, where we are Talk Joshi. You can also talk to me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Matt Turner. Sounds off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest and fastest way to get a hold of me. If you want to shoot me an email, that's perfectly fine. My good friend Rob Goodwin, he's going to help you out with the email address, because the email address, folks, simply is the StardomCast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another fun-filled episode of the Stardom Cast. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. Like I always say, just not my podcast.